It's 9 o'clock. I'll call the Chickasaw County Board of Supervisors meeting to order. Roll call. We have currently all supervisors present. We also have David Laudner, Terry Johnson, Jeff Bernatz, Kelly Terptra, member of the media, present. Is there an approval of the agenda for March 28th?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion?
That was the additional.
Yeah, with the additional one sheet.
Okay. Otherwise, I was going to do it as a separate. But your motion states that.
Yep.
You good with that, Jim?
Yeah, as long as we do that after 1 o'clock. That's when it was posted last Friday. That's what I saw in the email.
It's a 24-hour notice, though.
Yeah, it came out last Friday at 1 o'clock.
They haven't changed that law yet with open meetings. We talked about it 2 years ago to make exempt on Saturday, Sunday, but I don't think the law's changed yet.
That's what I'm saying, we shouldn't discuss it till after 1 o'clock.
We can though.
Hmm?
We can. The law hasn't changed yet.
Yeah. Well,
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, all ayes. Approve the minutes from March 21st, 2022.
in the very first paragraph, after we talk about who the members made it and who absent, it says also present in the boardroom. I think you need to take that out, put location on the second floor. somehow. Yeah, also present in the boardroom on the second floor.
Mm-hmm.
You should change that to
Present in the boardroom.
however you worded it in the past. I looked back on some of the minutes and you talk about just writing down location, located in, or located on the second floor of the courthouse. That's all I saw. Anyone else for minutes?
Move to approve minutes for March 21st.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion on the minutes? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Kuhn will abstain. Motion carries. We have to amend the motion on January 4th, 2022 regarding the medical examiner for Chickasaw County. In the previous motion, we did not state who the doctors were. So we need to add into that motion Dr. Jack Klein, Louis Brinkman, and Donald Lewis. Instead of saying all licensed physicians.
I'll amend that motion on January 4th, 2022 regarding medical examiners and list those two doctors as deputies for Chickasaw County medical examiners.
I'll second it.
Is that all we needed?
Mm-hmm.
Motion and second. Any further discussion?
This came about with one of our medical examiners get an email from the state of Indiana crime autopsy that we had to list the doctor's name and just cannot be a blanket name position. Gotta just go names.
Who seconded?
That was Zoe.
We need to put anything in there after those three, then we go to platinum.
Oh, we have nobody that's listed for out of county.
No,
I think it says when we know the chief is gone or resigned, then we have to find somebody else to be chief.
Right, but let's say all three of the doctors are on vacation, whatever. Then we buy one.
Doesn't say it in there, in that previous motion either.
We've done any other path.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, all ayes. It's 9:06. Do we have any public comment?
I just update you guys, I did get an email from Alyssa on Thursday from the DOT. Thursday morning, she's the project manager department, and she has finished her work on the Nashua issues with the old 218. So she said she's forwarded to the legal department of the DOT and higher up for approval. So I'm hoping that will be done here sooner rather than later. It's actually moving. So
Faster than that?
I'll let you know.
regarding our new medical examiner investigator, I got that ball rolling with the state now, thanks to Dr. Jack Klein's email. So once I get that confirmed, I'll have Detty and Jeff work with her to get whatever she needs done.
And thanks to Stephanie, we have a department meeting on Wednesday too. So
Yeah.
Thank you
we
for
do.
arranging that.
Mm-hmm. Welcome.
Thank you. Any other public comment? We can discuss rural recycling signs.
Okay, so after last week, Jake showed us some signs, it's pretty bad shape. So we need to get a good look at one so I can get an estimate on the cost to get fixed. Looking online, we need to get better than this. It's 2021 is the newest schedule I could find on the website. But they started in Jericho, there wasn't a sign there. Went to Lawler, there wasn't a sign there. Found one in New Hampton, but
They're not at Jericho Lawler. You said?
I didn't see one at the county shop.
Cause I think on your schedule, it specifically says the location.
Yeah, right, I got that, and that's, but I did find one here at the Human Services Building, but any rate,
Yep.
I got, looking at it, it says on this schedule operated by Gendro Sanitation Services. So I gotta wonder if those signs are really ours or if they belong to Gendro. So,
Call General.
and I did too. I talked to a long-term employee that in the office and they researched it and their conclusion was that they own the signs. They will, let us know in the next week or so, but they'll either fix the signs or they'll replace them with new ones.
It's a new company now, isn't it? Or didn't they
New owner.
get new owner?
So the gal that I talked to told me opposite, that they didn't own them, but then,
Yeah, this employee's been there for a lot of years and knew the previous owners and researched it, and they did conclude that they were their signs and they'll fix them.
Is it their job to put the new schedule on it then too?
I'm not sure on that. I would assume that needs to be checked out.
Just another minute here. It's 9:10. Martin Heeman. Discuss quote for mobile patrol camera.
Okay, good morning. So, middle of last week, I was approached by Chief Deputy Ray Schaller with one of those, I've got some good news and bad news scenarios. So anyway, one of our replacement cars that are scheduled at some point to get replaced, the mobile camera in it is a digital LA mobile camera. Is basically, it's shot. Ryan reached out to the company and doesn't look like there's really a lot of fix into it. These digital LA cameras that we have, the mobile ones that are mounted up on the rear view mirror ones, they last probably right around 4 to 5 years, and we've kind of different times had the same issue. This one was bought brand new in summer of 2017, so it's approaching 5 years. So anyway, what we've been doing for the last few years is anytime our cameras go bad or they're old or outdated or anything, we've been updating them with the different version. It's the WatchGuard, and it's the same thing that we carry on here with our body cameras. And WatchGuard is proven to be a lot more reliable. It might cost us a little bit more, but you're getting what you paid for. The original WatchGuard that Todd Miller had bought for KJ's truck in 2015, 2016, it's still working good. So, I mean, it's a good system. And the nice thing about these WatchGuards is the body camera and the mobile camera in the vehicles, they communicate with each other. So you turn one on, the other one automatically turns on. It's not two different systems. So anyway, that was the bad news, that we've got to replace the camera. The good news they shared with me, and it couldn't have come at a much better time, was Ryan had, last fall, he had applied for a grant through Alliance Pipeline to replace the camera. And so we did get approved, and what this was for a mobile camera. So that's the good news. So problem solved. So we have a check in the amount of $5,000 that he just showed me last week, that they had finally kind of said, hey, oh, by the way, the one that you had applied for the grant last fall has now been approved. We reached out to WatchGuard. Ryan did a couple different times to get a quote. We're yet actually to get an exact number. So I don't have a number for the board today. Based on the previous one that we put in the last vehicle, it's a little over 5,000. So I guess I'm asking for approval, but I don't have a number. Hopefully we can get it before next week's, so that you guys can say, go ahead and purchase in the amount of or whatever, unless you guys have some other thoughts or ideas.
Not to exceed.
Do a not to exceed a certain dollar amount.
See, the last one was,
54.
yeah,
That was the last one that we just put in, that was bought in October of 21. It's hard telling, prices have increased.
Probably 6 to 7 now.
I don't think it's that high. No.
Not
yeah. So I guess I would
I hope
maybe
not.
just tabling it, for a week until we can get an exact amount, because this way we can see what it is. We've kind of gotten away from Digital Ally, so I guess I've not really even considered them for a second quote, because again, you kind of get what you pay for there.
It's
So
the same one you guys got last time.
Sounds good.
we were hoping when Ryan brought this to my attention that we would have a quote by this morning's meeting. We don't, so maybe I can just be on next week's agenda as well.
Okay.
So
Will this have to be in a budget amendment? Type?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay. Discuss law enforcement contract with the city of Nashua.
So it would have been last Wednesday, I believe it was. I did receive an email from your city clerk. Basically, the gist of it was the council had voted unanimously to go back to, I guess it was the original proposed offer that we had put in front of them in, I believe it was like January, February. So, anyway, Dave had typed up a draft of that. Dave, I don't know if you want to have any more input or discussion or anything like that, or?
No, I don't think so. It's the changes that we talked about at the meeting last Monday that were approved to send out, and rejecting the changes that Nashua had made. It's basically consistent with exactly what we talked about last Monday. The only issue that was brought to my attention was the hourly rate for the over 2880. I left it at 105. If you guys want to change that, we certainly can change that. So.
Yeah, I saw that on the email you sent out last week.
So yeah, I called both of the officials there. The 105 was determined off of the $70 per hour. My consideration would be taking that down to $89.25, which would be time and a half at $59.50. Has Nashua seen with this? Did you deliver this Monday night, city council meeting?
I was on that last Monday's city council, down in Nashua, so.
They wouldn't have seen this, they wouldn't have seen the one that you guys got on whatever day I emailed this one, on Thursday last week. They would have saw the one with the edited changes on the side, right?
Yeah, so no, they wouldn't have seen this here. I guess I figured that the board would have to discuss if this was acceptable, if there was any changes. And then whatever the board decided today, then could go on, so the city could look at it, for possible approval at the next city council meeting.
You know, I've been working a lot, time and a half is time and a half, and we're gonna ask where we come up with the 105. We just threw it out this year. I like to see it down to 89.25 for the amount of time over the contract.
Are you comfortable with the interest rate we want to charge them if they are late on their payment, which was 4.5%, I saw? That'd be my only other question.
I don't have a problem with it.
On the percentage of the overdue.
Nashua's been very punctual in
Yeah.
making their payments, so.
And what was that dollar amount you said, Jake, again?
89.25 is time and a half at 59.50.
Is there a consensus on 89.25?
What number did they see as the time over?
Well, they saw the edits that you guys made last Monday, so they saw the 105 based upon the 2,400 hours. That's on the new number, 168,000. So now they're going back to 2880 after 170.14.
So they saw $70
Correct.
and then 105.
Yeah.
Now we're going back down to 59.50.
Yeah, they're going back to where we started. They basically reverse course completely, so.
And they didn't pay anything over.
No, they haven't historically, is my understanding.
You know,
Are you too good with that amount? 89.25 for overtime? Or overage?
I'm actually happy with just whatever the rate is, actually. 'Cause, I mean, what'd you go over the last time? 13 hours last year?
145.
Oh, it was
For the whole
145.
year, it was
145.
Yeah, it was a pretty good number.
Yeah, I'm okay with 89.25 then.
Steve?
yeah, I'm okay with that.
Tim?
Yes, I already said I'm
Oh,
okay
okay.
with it.
We've got a consensus then of 89.25
For overtime.
for overtime.
Then it sounds like we're okay with leaving the 4.5% if they miss a payment. on the interest
Everybody
rate.
else good with that? 4.5%.
They're probably gonna not want you to go over too much.
So at the end of the fiscal year, they've got water over the damn day, so.
Save some hours.
Yeah.
Any other discussion on that?
So I would think you guys should make a motion to approve the contract with the amended amount of 89.25 and authorize chairman's signature. That'd be my suggestion, if you're at that point, but maybe you aren't at that point, but I think you are.
Is there a motion?
I'm at that point, Dave, but in the past, we always let Nashville sign first.
Okay.
But I don't care either way. I'm good with it. It's just, yeah, I'll make that motion to contract for law enforcement services starting July 1st, ending June 30th, 23, as presented in this contract. With the only change of 89.25.
Yeah, that amendment.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion seconded. Any further discussion?
You're authorizing that to sign it if.
Yeah.
Would you read the motion back, Stephanie?
Sure.
Pretty long motion. Make sure we get it correct.
Motion by Hackman, second by Zoll to approve the law enforcement contract with the city of Nashua with the amendment amended amount of $89.25 for any hours over the contracted hours and authorized chairperson signature.
Work.
You two good with that?
Did you list law enforcement contract?
Yep, to approve the law enforcement contract with the city of Nashua.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any further discussion?
So do we sign the amended version and then it gets taken to Nashua then?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the-
what order? I can update it again to you, or I can update it and send it to Matt and Stephanie this time, so I'm gonna pick it up from them, whichever one you guys prefer.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, all ayes. Discuss law enforcement vehicle quote.
So, yeah, basically after our, budget was approved earlier this month, I asked Ryan if he would, start going out and getting some, vehicle quotes on, new vehicle prices, things like that, so I guess I'm gonna turn it over to him because he did the legwork on all this, so.
So I reached out to Mitch Lowers. He talked to his contact on Stu Hansen down in Des Moines, where we get all the vehicles come from Des Moines, whether it's Carl Chevrolet or Stu Hansen. Mitch facilitates the delivery up here and takes care of it. We get the check out to my Lowers Auto Center, so it stays with the county. Reached out to him right after the budget was approved. Finally got back to me. Harry's contact on Stu Hansen says, I don't have anything. I can't get pricing anything, and I don't know when I'm gonna get anything for pricing. And then when you do get pricing, I don't know what it's gonna be. Chrysler this is kind of a side note, Chrysler just canceled because they can 4,000 government orders across the nation. So, later on that afternoon, you got an email back from Harry saying that Chrysler saying maybe pricing for 23s in July this year, but that's a maybe, with a delivery date of potentially July of 24. Or 23, excuse me. So, Harry did say I had a guy back out, an agency back out. I'm getting in a crew cab truck like what I have, like we just purchased. The only difference is we've got quotes for you. It does not have the Ram box, side boxes like mine does, and the one we just ordered. So, he got the Harry, gave us a price on that, and that's what the sheriff's giving you right now. We can talk about that once you guys all have it. He reached out to Dennis down at Carl Chevrolet,
You're in the short one.
pricing, the only thing they can price out right now is Tahoes, and pricing on those might be this week, if not next week, with a order date of May 5th, and they're expecting that order window to close within 36 hours nationwide. So the thing is, we might get a quote, we might accept a quote. The next step would be, is it gonna get ordered? And if it does get in the order queue, is it going to get built? And then is it going to get here? So a lot of things up in the air. So the best thing Mitch said right now, if we want anything, is what you got in front of you right now. That is our best option. That one does have a VIN and is going to get built with the anticipated delivery date of August of this year.
And that was the reason for the additional agenda item was time frame.
Yeah, because this just came in Friday morning.
Yeah, Friday morning, so, stark contrast from a few years ago where we could, get a quote on a Dodge Charger, Dodge Durango, truck, we had all kinds of different options. I think you guys realize that we don't have a lot of options at this point, so, ideally we wanted to replace 2 vehicles, but I guess we just gotta get what we can get.
So to put in perspective, we purchased the newest one, which is KJ's new truck. We placed the order July 25th, 2021 with the Ram boxes, and we paid $30,490. Your quote in front of you right now, almost the same truck without the Ram boxes, is $39,435. So you got 1 year and some dates that it's increased, and that Ram box is a $1,300 option that we didn't get on this one.
Is that like a necessity, or is that, I know what it is.
It's nice to
but-
have. I like it. It's not a necessity. No, it's not a deal breaker by any means. Because if we wait, we don't know.
You aren't gonna get it.
So just retail, this truck retails that you got in front of you at about $50,000 if we had to pay retail price. So
I'd like a motion to authorize sheriff for the purchase policy of this bid in front of us for $39,435.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, all ayes.
I guess the question for the second option is there any used thing coming into these state bids?
Is any what?
Used vehicles?
Not that I'm aware of, because they can't get anything to replace them.
So a number of years ago, we did have, one of the Dodge Chargers, had a deer strike and it was put on, repair. Previous Sheriff Todd Miller had reached out to the, Missouri State Patrol. They would routinely, when the vehicles hit 50,000 miles, they would trade them off. That may be the closest thing, but I guess I haven't seen if there's anything out there. So,
And then a year later, we had to rebuild the engine in that one.
you know, so we'll just kind of keep our eyes open. I know Mitch will do the same thing, but, you know, it's not just us. I mean, it's, you know, what, I think Mitch said that, the city of Fredericksburg's looking at, replacing some trucks, and the city of New Hampton is, and,
With the PPE, the light plant.
you know, so, you know, look at all your agencies, your counties, your states. So, yeah, we almost have to take what we can get, when we can get it. So,
And I think working locally has helped us out, because, you know, Mission has connection. I don't think if we didn't work locally with our local dealers, then we wouldn't get this option. See, that pretty good relationship with Harry, and Harry's like, hey, this guy just called and said cancel the order. But they're gonna still get delivered, and that's what you got in front of you, so it worked out well.
Sounds good, thank you.
thank you.
These guys appreciate it.
David Gorman, department update.
Yes, good morning. Just a few items to update you on. The air conditioning unit over here in the machine room has been replaced. It's up and running and everything is good on that. Steve Lansing, the guy that installed it, informed me that they charged it with Freon, and he will be back when the temperature warms up to make sure that that level is okay, or top them off if it needs to be, or whatever. So that item is in, up and running, and good to go. One other item to bring the board up to date on. I've been informed by our service technician for the elevator that there is a good chance that within the next 5 years, this elevator is going to be deemed outdated, replaced, whatever. You know, we've been repairing this one, you know, as needed. It's in good shape, it runs very well, but I think the vintage of this one's in the 60s. So he said there's a real good chance that this one's going to be deemed, you know, outdated here within the next 5 years, 10 years for sure. So, I mean, this isn't anything that we have to go into a real in-depth conversation on today, but it's just to kind of bring the board up to date that this could be coming, you know, in the coming years here. You know, whether we start budgeting for it, you know, in this next budget year or whatever. But the Schumacher elevator is working on a quote to spec it out, tell us how much it would be. The only reason that this got brought up is because the elevator at the courthouse in Fayette County, West Union, that one's about the same vintage as this one, and theirs went out on them and they couldn't get parts, so they're kind of dead in the water. So while they're working on that one, they're kind of bringing us up to date on this one, that, hey, this is what could be happening here down the road for you. As far as a timetable on it, nobody really has, you know, a clue on when it would be outdated, but, you know, like I said, 5 years, 5 to 10 years could be hitting it pretty close, so.
Did they say at all if it would, we don't have to go into detail, but if it would have to be like one of those piston ones or?
Well, now I've heard that they've changed, you know,
Or
before I
hydraulic.
was told that it would have to be a hydraulic post coming up from the ground. Now I've kind of heard a secondary story to that where there are cylinders that would ride alongside the car and raise and lower it, just out of the pit that we have here. So if that's the case, you know, that would simplify it quite a bit versus digging the pit down and putting the post down in the ground, like we were told before. But as far as this goes, if they would do that, I was also informed that the car would be a little bit smaller than what it is now. You know, I'm sure there's a spec on the size of the car that we have to have, and they'd have to stay within that. But I think the car would be smaller, a little bit smaller than what we have now. So, I mean, these are just things I'm bringing you up to date on. We don't have to, you know, I'll get an update and a quote from them, and then I'll come back to the board and kind of give details of what they're thinking or whatever here. But this is something that's coming down the road here, so. As far as any other information on it, I don't have anything right now. That's just kind of basically what I know, so.
Thanks.
Okay,
I know at one time, Dave, you mentioned that we need more room in the basement for all the equipment of this.
right.
I mean, I've been down there, there's a bunch of left down there.
No, they informed me that we would have to have hydraulic pumps located somewhere near the elevator to operate this, which, like Jake just said, down in the boiler room, we have no room for that kind of stuff unless they would make some sort of a platform up above, like say some area in there and have it up above, which would be an option, I guess. You know, when their guys were here and looking at it the other day, they talked about the possibility of moving the pop machine out and making a
I was wondering that.
platform in there, but it's like, I don't think you want to ruin the looks of the lobby by having that sitting in that corner, but that was one option that they thought of, but I didn't think highly of that, so. But there's just a lot of little details that are gonna have to be talked about and worked over through that process, but the main thing is to update the board that we're gonna have to start saving some money for it, I think, so. For budgeting or whatever, so. And as far as the cost,
That's what I was gonna ask you. Did they give you any idea?
you know, they came and did a estimate on it one time here a while, it's been years back. It seemed to me back then it was like 150 to 200,000, and that's probably been 6, 7, 8 years ago. So, what, you know, if it's doubled, I don't know. Yeah,
But we'll know with this quote.
yeah, when they give us the spec sheet and the quote, then I'll come back up and address the board on what we found out, but,
I have a $250,000 number in my head that I remember because we had a quote a long time ago when I was on the first time, and then it was about
Yeah.
250.
seemed to me 200 was sticking in my head, but you could be right, 250, yeah. And just one more item here, just asking board permission or what your thoughts are down at the law office, on the property between the curb and the sidewalk. There was a really big excess buildup of soil there, you know, from all the years of the plows pushing sand and whatever through there. I mean, we're built up probably this high and there's a huge drop off to the curb there. Talked to Andy Babcock about the possibility of him coming in and skid loadering, using his skid loader, shaving that off for us and, you know, maybe putting the dirt out back for use somewhere else or whatever. He thought, he gave me a figure of around $200 to come in there and shave that off. This would be a good time of year to do it. We could, you know, if we got it shaved off, we could get it seeded and grass growing in there, well, as soon as warm weather shows up, whenever that might be here, so. It's just one of those deals that when we're mowing, if you get too close with the mower, you could actually really drop off there and run the danger of, I don't know if you'd flop it over, but
You could possibly.
yeah.
Or you gotta weed whack a little bit wider, stay off that steep slope.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You're talking about the city street.
Yeah, it's between the sidewalk and the curb.
Yeah,
Is that
it's the parking area.
is that sidewalk getting redone in front of our building as well, or just south of us?
That's just south of you.
Okay,
The
stopping
side,
before it gets to us?
yes,
They were working it a day on
Yeah,
it,
it's
so.
not gonna cross, the bike trail's not gonna cross the driveway.
right.
Okay.
Mhm. But the sidewalk in front of the new law office is in good shape. I don't foresee us having to patch anything in there.
Is it?
You're not talking about the building, you're talking about the city's sidewalk.
Right next to the curb of the
Yes,
city street.
in front of the law
In
office,
front of
between the sidewalk and the curb.
and curb, yeah.
Mhm.
You may have to cut it clear back to the sidewalk.
Yeah, I was
Well,
thinking
at
this,
least half
if
of
you
it.
could angle it from the sidewalk down to the curb, you could shave it off that way. Because there's always gonna be a little drop off, you know, from the sidewalk to the curb, so.
Yeah.
Does that trail cross the road right there? Because they can't come to us and ask us about it. I'm
Yeah,
just
we
trying to
got an
remember.
easement, it comes from the care center. No, I don't think it crosses our driveway.
Mm-mm.
and it goes to the house to the west.
Cuts across the road right there. Yeah, they've been working on it last week, so.
Okay.
I didn't know what it starts with.
Do we need to get a bid for that? I understand it's $200, but
Could be 300-400 if he's gotta cut it back for you. Can you find it in the janitorial budget?
Yeah.
Anywhere? Does it get?
There's landscaping in that.
There's landscaping in that budget.
3,000 or something?
is there a consensus to do this?
Yeah, I think it needs to be done, it makes it look better. You know, go and
It's a
get
small
bids on
number, I
it.
don't think
Okay.
it requires one.
You said no on Foot Street?
No, I said yes.
You want to see if you can get another quote or
Sure, I can.
see if there's anybody else that does it, just so we cover our bases?
Sure.
If everybody else is okay with that.
Do you want me to get written quotes on it or just verbal or how do you want to do it?
Written would probably be better.
Okay, all right. I'll call
That way it's
Andy.
documented.
Yeah, I can get hold of Andy and have him give a written quote and then get hold of one other contractor then.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
One other item down there too, and it's not good news, but, the new driveway that was put in from the entrance to the parking lot, or that new driveway that goes to the garage area there. Over the winter, it cracked in a whole lot of places, and I'm not sure why. I mean, it's not pitching and heaving, but, the winter was not kind to that, and I'm not sure why, but it's got re-rod in it, I'm sure it's not gonna pitch and heave, but there must be something about that chunk of ground there that really promotes cracking in concrete, because I noticed a lot of big cracks. I mean, they're not wide, but cracks in it, so. And then also over the winter, when, the ground froze, that concrete actually raised up probably 2.5 inches between the flat base of the concrete and the garage floor. Like it's level in the fall or spring, and then in the winter, it was way up.
In front of the garage door,
Right.
not the walk.
The walk-through door was the same
It
way.
was up that high.
Mhm.
Okay.
The whole thing. I don't,
All right.
and there's nothing that we can do about it. It's just to inform the board. Yeah, it did. It cracked in a lot of places, so.
Do they make that a floating slab, or do they actually drill rerod into the existing?
They did not re-rot it into the concrete of the floor of the garage. I remember that. But those guys seemed like they knew what they were doing real well, and I didn't second guess them on it, so. But, it's going back down now, and it seems fine now, but over the winter, it does raise up quite a bit, so. Unfortunately.
So,
Just Mother Nature's way of, being harsh on that, I guess, so.
so Tim, to answer your question, for permanent landscaping, we had a $3,600 budget. We've used $2,760. We still have $840 in just that line item. Overall, though, we have over $17,800 that is still in that budget. So we're fine.
Okay. All right. Then just, the last item that I have here, and this kind of goes back to the storage issues again. Last week, the guys in the engineer's office were putting new equipment in their desks, whatever. The two old drafting tables and a file cabinet came out of there. They are down at the law office. I don't see any future for them other than auctioning them off, getting them out of here. And I know John is interested in putting a bid in on one of them, just for the sake of him being here all them years and being at that desk. And, I don't know if the board wants to do wait until we get some more, or just do a bidding process on these two desks in a file. But they are down there in the room. They're I'm thinking they're about a 4 foot by 4 foot table, two of them.
Secondary roads deemed not needed.
They took a bunch of stuff out of there, but the tables they did not want. So these were kind of the scraps, and we hauled them down to the storage area there, so.
I'd say put them on the auction.
Put it in the paper for two.
Yeah, or get the word out.
I almost think it'd have to be in the paper if you were gonna auction something, but
Two drafting tables and a file cabinet. It's like I think it's a 2-drawer file. So.
Consensus of the board.
So they can take and auction them off.
Sealed bids. Sealed bids, like they did before. Or do you want to wait till, or
I don't
is
wait,
anybody
just-
else doing spring cleaning? I mean, my office is, but
Well, I mean, it's up to you guys, if, you know, we're getting rid of, we're in the process of selling those chairs. It's
right.
too bad we didn't know about this and include them in the chair deal, but,
Yep.
The ad.
now, when you set this up, does it have to be advertised like through the paper? Or can it just be on the Facebook page?
It has to be
I
in
would
our
put it in the
official
paper.
newspapers.
Okay,
I like to see more stuff.
Yeah, I don't see that it's worth for two or
Okay.
three items. If you're able to store it down there
yeah,
or have a place that you can put it in a corner.
right.
Do you,
Now we got more items down
We
there.
might have a good option here.
You're starting to know
We
what I'm talking
got a
about.
department meeting, we'll have
Yeah.
to discuss the departments and let them know.
Mhm. Okay,
They're-
and
okay.
I don't know if there's anything in the mechanical room that needs to be pushed in that grouping or not. I'm not sure.
You mean down at the building or?
Like if we
Oh,
have
in
anything
here.
stored in here that should be
Oh, yeah.
included in that. I
I
can't
don't think
remember.
there is in here, no.
Okay.
But, like I said, we can wait a while and see if anything else comes up, so.
Right.
But other than that, I think that's about all the items I had for you, so.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, you bet.
Jeff Burnett's radio communication tower project update.
Okay, Unplugged Wireless, the vendor for our pagers, we're here on the 14th. Reprogrammed the Hampton Fire, National Fire, Ambulance Service, Rescue Squad pagers. Then they were back on the 21st to do North Washington, El Vista, Lawler, and Iconia. All the pagers that were turned in, like they were requested, have been reprogrammed. Of course, we have some that still need to be turned in that were not able to be turned in when they were asked for. So I'll collect all those, give with John, there should just be a handful of them. Finish
Is
up.
that something you could do here or if they gave you
We're
the
gonna do it.
software?
We're gonna do it over again, yeah, over TeamViewer or something, but, yeah. Still waiting on the arrival of the tracker equipment for Lawler Fire and, secondary roads. Chad did put in an expedite request on that order, but I'm imagine how far that went. Wes and his guys have been out to county shop running wires for those 10, desk sets. This Thursday, 10 AM, meeting with superintendents to do radio training. That'll be out of my office. And then, tonight, we're gonna start a Chickasaw County Essex user group, discussion. First one will be tonight, it'll be monthly, on the fourth Monday of every month. Getting Hampton Fire night, 7 PM. This first one, we're just gonna start with fire chiefs. Chief dispatcher, the sheriff, police chief. It's just gonna be an open discussion, it's not gonna be a formal format. It's gonna be, talk about issues, things that people like, things that people don't like, tricks that people have figured out or whatever. Open discussion for anyone, and eventually be open to anyone countywide using the LMR system. So, first one tonight, Hampton Fire, 7 PM. I did hire Larson Landscaping to do weed control at the Anchor site. The initial trim is gonna be $150 for the area, and then $150 per application of glyphosate, some type of weed killer. He recommended 3 applications annually. I did reach out to 2 vendors, only one did respond, which was Larson Landscaping. So I didn't choose to go with him. As far as the tower, Ray Freeman and Dave Kaczynski were here on the 14th to do a walkthrough of all the sites, Waller and Nashua. In Waller, we looked at the ground around the county shed. Jason was there. We looked at the ground to the immediate south, which will include the farmer's driveway, so we might have to construct a new driveway if we choose, if that's where we choose to go. The other thing we looked at was power issues and, fiber. So I remember Greg Jason is at the fiber line, or where the switches to Hawkeye, right in that area.
Yes.
So, if we can stay on Butler Bremer, that would be the easiest. Obviously, we can cross over if we need to, but. Nashua, we looked at all 3 sites. Again, power and fiber were discussed. I was working with Miranda from the Mason City DOT shop and Craig Woods on the dead end of the Ashton Avenue. I guess I didn't. Melissa is who you're dealing with?
Oh, listen,
All that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So hopefully they've all talked to each other because
0 chance of that.
apparently we
I
have.
was here to care for me, so.
Yeah, talking about the land, who owns it, and then how far we gotta stay away from the highway. So, Ray pushed pretty hard that that's the spot that he would prefer. The other ones would work. The west property triangle, it's pretty small. We have to actually advance up to the driveway. And then the east property, they would have to go farther down towards the crest of the hill before it goes down to the creek, in order to keep the landowner happy. We did visit both sites with Ray and Dave, and they were very impressed with the equipment that we had and the nice setup that we had. And then they talked about moving the buildings and taking everything down. I need to check with Motorola. One thing he suggested was building the new tower. I have spares in my office for everything on the tower except the microwaves and the antennas. He says use the spares, put it on the new one, then your downtime would only be the actual moving of the building. So something we're gonna look into. But. So yeah, that's where we're at. Any questions?
Just glad that he was able to go look at Lawler as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, he was all about it. And this Dave Lazinski, he's a coworker of Dave's, so he'll be involved as well. But I think we need to concentrate on getting Nashua done, budget wise, see where we're at, to move on to the next one.
Sounds good. Anything else for Jeff?
So what's the plan then? So is the plan for Nashua then to wait, hopefully in the next couple of weeks for the DOT to get the transfer documents? And is that where they want to put it, or do you want it elsewhere, or what do you want me to do? I guess.
Well, we need to know who owns it,
Okay.
first of all.
Well, we're going to, or Nashua's going to shortly.
Well, good. No, that's basically what we're waiting for, as in me and Ray and I. Because we're not gonna put a bunch of time into a piece of property that's no good to us, you know, so. Obviously, they're all in the same area, within a couple hundred yards of each other, so. You know, if we can get that transfer done, and they're going full steam ahead on Ashton.
You gotta get that special building permit, so. I mean, all 3 locations would probably need it, so. Are you gonna be working with John Ott?
Yeah, I stopped down to Ashton the other day, he was out of the office, but yes, I have been in contact with John multiple times.
And then are you gonna see where the fiber's at exactly in Lawler, or where? I understand Nashua seems like it might be more of a go or a priority than maybe one in Lawler, but it'd be
Yeah,
nice
I'll
to
get a hold
get
of,
something nailed down.
Mother Bremer, get their maps, get a hold of Hawkeye, and get their maps.
They said they have to do a cemetery study too.
Anytime we go, they have to do some serious stuff.
They sure there's not any, what, they said historical people.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't go there.
Never heard that one before.
Any other discussion?
How's the contract coming with Old City?
I have them all done, I just gotta make it to the council meetings to do them, if I do them in person. North Washington has theirs. I talked to Brittany, and they were gonna just review it and then get back to me when they're done.
You're gonna try to get those schools signed off soon?
After Thursday, I might talk to the superintendents, during the training, we'll figure out when the next school board meeting is and schedule them.
So,
Anything else?
just with the schools, I remember we gave 2 to St. Joe's, so gotta be talked to the priest, who's ever in charge.
I'll talk to Father Neller, and see. Have to come to training, I guess, and then, their school board meeting as well.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time. Discuss and approve the Class B native wine permit for Real Goods Clothing Boutique.
To the 1 year.
Yep.
12-month.
Make a motion to approve.
It's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All ayes. Discuss resolution 328-22222 declaring emergency medical services and essential county service. It was brought to my attention as well as Stephanie's that on the second page here, I believe it says that we were supposed to have it published on the 10th of March and it was not in the paper. So that's back up to republish. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on?
Can we put the summary in, or do we put the whole resolution? Yes, we can put a summary in, but the cleanest way to do it now is just to approve a brand new resolution with the brand new dates, because we have to wait 60 days after publication before you can have your 3 readings. And you're mandated to have all 3 readings. So that's at the calendar back another 3 weeks, so the dates are all updated in the new resolution for June readings. And then at the last June reading, will be the creation of the advisory council. So yes, you can put a summary in the paper. There has to be language. There's 5 things. I sent that memo on Thursday that say what has to be in there. And it has to say that it's a summary only and that there's access to the full resolution either on the website, which we guys can discuss that, or in your office and or in your office. Yeah, the resolution.
It is.
Number.
Yep, 22. It's 3/28/22/22. Would anybody like to see it?
So the language is the exact same as the one you approved earlier this month. The only difference is the dates have changed. I'll make a motion to pass resolution 3/28/22/22.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion?
Can I just ask for my knowledge of why didn't you make the paper? Local? We don't know.
I sent it off. It didn't make it. Our claims also didn't make the newspaper either. I got a note from Chris Rimrod, so.
I did not put it in the paper.
And they changed the cutoff date to Mondays now at 2, so I'm not so sure if it had to do with that.
Did it make the paper eventually?
The following week, the 17th.
I was just looking for there was a date. It said that we had to have this in there.
Yeah, this one will have to go on Thursdays. If
Yeah.
you stick with the timeline that's set in the resolution.
So that's the struggle is we don't approve our minutes until next week. So then should we be publishing this resolution separately? See what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to approve today's minutes. You've approved the resolution today. They haven't approved the minutes to be published until the following week.
Did you not still publish the resolution?
When we publish the resolution.
That's what I'm saying is I think that's also maybe part of our hiccup last time was because we approved it, but you guys didn't approve the minutes for publication until the following Monday as well. So that you're gonna run, I think you're gonna, am I not saying that correctly or?
I'm following you. I'm just,
Do we have to wait for the minutes?
so in the past, if the board approved a resolution on weed control or something else, when would that resolution be published?
It would, so it
The actual
wouldn't,
minutes
the,
are approved and then published
Right.
separate from the separate in conjunction with the minutes?
right, it's not published separately, so that's why I'm asking the board is, do you want this resolution published separately in order to
say
meet
yes.
those
Well, this says
deadlines?
March 31st, and I'd say get it, at least get this in the paper, and if we need to readdress when we need to publish it, then
I would say the resolution should go off today for publication
Yes.
on Thursday.
Okay, I can send that
Separate from the
now.
minutes.
Is that,
Can you make that timeline today?
yeah, I can send it off
You can-
right now, I think I have the final in my email,
Final version I emailed to you.
Yes.
Yep.
so
so the motion's in the second. Jake, you motioned to the second.
I did.
can we add to publish in the newspaper then, I mean, separately from the minutes then? And
Yeah,
are we
it's in the
publishing,
resolution. It says in there, no one that needs to be published.
Yeah, I think they're gonna state it, it's in the resolution. That's it.
I
Unless
think
you wanna be cleaner, Stephanie, I guess
I think we're good to go, and if we need to revisit when resolutions get posted, then, but being it states that in there, I think we should put it in there.
Put it in a motion?
No,
No.
just put it in a paper, so.
Yeah, so we get it.
March
so you're gonna publish, if I send it off now though, it's not a summary, it's this entire resolution.
And I support the summary because it's less paper, but should it be full so that everybody sees exactly what this is?
How many pages is it, like 6?
Two.
It's two,
My recommendation for this one is the full will be published.
That way,
Okay.
because it's,
Given the potential pitfalls if it's not published correctly and what we're gonna be doing with this over the next 6-9 months. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, it's not money to be done.
motion and second. Any further discussion? If not, roll call. Hackman, Byrne,
Aye.
Zoll,
Aye.
Breitbach,
I,
myself, I. Motion passes 5-0. We've got 2 minutes to the public hearing, or the opening of bids, excuse me.
Should we give Stephanie a couple minutes to make sure she gets that to the paper?
already did it,
You already got it?
Yep.
Okay.
thank you for
Making
asking,
sure it's done.
yep, thank you.
Anybody has a,
You wanna pass this around and sign?
yes, thank you.
Yeah, give the most recent version with the June dates, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
28.
Electronically?
You said final,
Yeah,
Yep.
June dates.
mhm,
Just a quick committee assignment, but I'll go back to it. Was sent an email Friday from CSS Mary that the Iowa Health and Human Services Agency released final change package for combining both those agencies. So if anybody wants to see this email, I believe the next step is, moving forward to combine the two agencies.
Before. No, he brought it here, but he timestamped it.
I don't know if they'd fit through the timestamp, oh, yep, they do, right here.
Okay.
Sorry, here's this one.
I'm sorry, Jake, can you say that again?
It's just a combining number, we talked about it, the state of Iowa was gonna combine Iowa Public Health and Department of Human Services as one agency. They have the final change package out there for the review.
Okay.
Just some things going on in the morning. That's gonna affect mental health, the Department of Health,
Okay, it's 10 o'clock. We have 3 bids, excuse me. That's together. Let's see, 2 bids the way it looks.
Probably the bond.
Yeah, this is 2 bids.
Is it for Roman, President?
Yeah.
For Roman,
Contract rep.
they review that. Thank you.
First bid is from Bruning Rock Products, Inc. For Division 1, 34,629 tons. Limestone resurfacing is $13.909. 13.909 ton is a total of 481,654.76.
Read that number again.
Total was 481,654.76. Division 2, 27,328 tons limestone. The price is $13.909. Total is $380,105.15. Total is $380,105.15. Division 3, 37,824 tons of limestone is $14.759. Total is $558,244.42. Again, that total is $558,244.42. Division 4 is 28,897 tons of limestone resurfacing at $14.759. 75.59. That's a total of 426,490.82. Again, that's 426,490.82. That total bid amount is $1,846,495.15. And the total is 1,846,495.15. They do have the bid bond. And this one is BMC Aggregates LC. Division 1, 34,629 tons of limestone resurfacing, $13.95 equals $483,074.55. Again, that number is 483,074.55. Division 2, 27,328 tons limestone surfacing, $14.01 a ton equals $382,865.28. Number again is 382,865.28. Division 3 is 37,824 tons of limestone. It is $15.22 for a total of $575,681.28. Again, that's $575,681.28. Division 4 of 28,897 tons of limestone surfacing $15.07 a ton equals $477.79. Again, that's 435,477.79. That total is $1,877,098.90. Again, that's 1,877,098.90. And again, that was BMC Aggregates LC. I believe that is all I have. Anybody like to see the bids?
We'd probably double check them. I'm John, Spencer double check them in the office.
Okay.
Was that the rock you required, Roman?
What's that?
Was that the tonnage of rock you required for Ford division?
That was the tonnage, a little heavy on the price compared to our current budgeted line item for it. We did have 1.762 budgeted, but that includes our spot rack allocation and the 100,000 from the infrastructure fund. So that being said, I believe that goes up to 1.846. It's about 180,000 over our estimated cost for just the contract rock. But then if you incorporate our 200,000 in spot rack and the infrastructure fund, you're down to about in the 60,000s. Yeah, I guess that's where we're at on that. I mean, we all know the reason is fuel. Previous events have probably made that a little bit worse than anticipated. I guess I don't know as far as that total, if we'd have to do a little bit of an amendment to maintain our spot racking ability or other line items in our budget, or if there would be some assistance from the infrastructure fund. Where we're at, or if there'd be or reject and reduce quantities based on.
Is that 95% that we're giving you help you with that?
What's that?
Is that 95% that we're giving you help you with that?
It helped us because we increased the tonnage of rock that we're putting down this year. But, I mean, that went to other line items than just our 461. But yes, I would say we budgeted almost 200,000 extra.
I think the roads will need it.
Yep.
I think if we don't place the rock, that's just gonna lead to spring of 2019 or more easily have that happen.
I guess, are you for Bernie?
No.
Either one of them, you're for Bernie. Just a common question. When's the end deadline for this to be completed? We don't do that for rock bids.
Yeah, we do. I can go look. Yeah, sometime in August. And there could be, I don't know when you would maybe start, where that, if we have excess in the current year's budget, which I heavily doubt. I know Jason brought up the fact that there is extra in that line item, but that doesn't even offset what we got hit with the flood. It's about 300,000, we still have to place spring spot rack for dust control and just touching stuff up, so. That could be an option if we have a little surplus in our carryover, but will we? I don't know. It's gonna be very close, and we still got a fourth of the year to go here, so. I can get you that date real quick though.
No, I'm just wondering, because I don't know, I've been up here for 6 years and usually we don't get to one contractor. I understand we bids.
Yeah.
I'm just, with the workforce, I just want to know, can we get it done by the time?
Last year we did. Think, if I remember right.
You only had three divisions.
Yeah.
Yeah, And there was it last year, or the year before, there were some liquidated damages on coming in late or getting done late.
I appreciate the bids, and I think I knew this was gonna be the issue. I don't think we can cut back a rock.
And this year, just so you're aware, we are putting 128,690 approximately in tons. Last year was 113,241.
A little bit more.
So yeah, you're talking 15,000 more ton. I think we got slightly more miles, but to get those miles, we had to reduce some of the tons per mile by about 25. I think we went from 300 to 275 or something along them lines in some of the miles,
Some
just to get more coverage.
On the wider roads.
Yeah.
Well, move on with the
Yeah, we
department, and then you'll see
We'll have
they
to,
get those bids checked out.
yeah, I mean, as
Bids,
long
in my
as
opinion.
if you guys are in agreement with moving forward, I think it's just a motion and approved for the board chair to sign once they get their part of the contract signed, if everything's in accordance. And then I don't believe that has to be on a board meeting. In the past, I thought once it's approved for your chair to sign, that you can just come in anytime once we get the contract in. I believe that's.
Correct, we'd have to vote on the amount
Yep.
though, make a motion on the amount. And who we go with.
They should take long to figure if they're right. They should come back with some minute or so here.
Do you want to touch on department update in the meantime?
Yeah, we can. Let's see, Blade's been out pulling in rock, shaping up potholes, intersections, a lot of them around bridges. That'll be continuing throughout the weeks to come. Patching on B18, same story. We've been removing some snow equipment from motor graders and one ways. We still have 4 dressed. We need to go out on hard surface. I know there's a slight chance of snow. I doubt anything that's gonna really stick, but we'll keep them at least through this week and reassess the forecast. Shop general stuff. We did get the 5 exterior walk-in doors that were bid by Mott Construction installed. One thing though is that they have to come back and paint them. They were primed, but they weren't painted. So the one guy I believe said they were going to take them off the hinges. And I don't know if they'll just tape them up and paint or what's. But they're in. One thing in regards to shop equipment, we've been working on getting some quotes. The Chevy dealer basically made it sound like state bid prices will be out mid-April, and that the orders will need to be placed by May 6th. And they believe that these will fill up within a day or 36 hours with demand exceeding supply. Jason did, that would be estimated 30 to 35, just kind of what we've been seeing. Arrival mid-October, also estimated. And Jason's been working on reaching out to Dodge on pricing and availability. I just wanted to talk with the board in regards to all the equipment hassle that everything's been doing. If we do get a window to put a state bid locked in, are we willing to go with that right away?
Good. So I don't know if it'd be much different. We just got the state bid back for the police officers, sheriff's office, and came back about 10 grand more than it did last year. So,
Yeah, so it's in the same deal as what.
and so it's last year was right around 30. This year is straight at 40. So it jumped that much. So let me know.
And they only got it because somebody
Backed out
backed out of it and purchased, so otherwise it was
next July.
next July. With the Dodge.
So I guess I'm just looking into, we have this budgeted, there's a vehicle available, we need it. I guess I just want to make you guys aware of it, because if that window does open up and then we, wait for Dodge to basically say, yeah, we don't have anything, and then we miss that window, or if Dodge isn't gonna be
even supplying us with a truck in the fiscal year we're budgeting for.
It's a possibility that might not happen.
Yeah, I mean, that wheeled excavator is still sitting in Mason City waiting for this wire harness for 2D. So I told Jason to tell that guy, get it here, and you can come put that in. It's still a usable machine, it just doesn't have this nice enhancement to it. But I don't know where that sits, maybe he's lying, maybe there are a couple other things that it's messing with.
So maybe Roman, would be okay for you guys to put a bid on something, because it's state bid anyway.
Yep.
No one in circumstance with a short window of hours.
And they could be wrong as far as the window closing quickly, but I kind of would probably veer towards caution on them. So I guess, yeah, as I learn more on that in coming meetings, we'll talk more on that. Couple other things, we did get our OSHA citation back. Working with Gallagher, Nathan Berry, we can basically contest to try to get the violation dollar down. It was around $6,000, which honestly I thought, okay, that's a lot better than I anticipated. So we're working through that. We've got a certain amount of days to get that back to them or with our plan of action. After that, we did get a railroad improvement agreement from the Iowa DOT. This would be for the crossing on the east side of Ionia. I believe Dusty filled that out a couple of years ago. There's about a $111,000 estimate that you had to submit. DOT covers 60%, county covers 20%, and the railroad covers 20%. So this would be precast panels and then HMA wedges to match into the existing. So we sent that off. There's about 18 months to get it done. So we'll be in contact with the railroad. I'm sure that estimate is gonna also be a lot higher than what the estimate was a year and a half or two ago. So another thing, working on the state budget and the 5-year program. Aside from that, let's go to all we got for department update.
Can we jump back to the rock?
Yep.
What's the
Pleasure.
board's opinion on how they would like to
Numbers matched up,
move?
guys?
Yep.
Good. I'd make a motion to go with Boone Rock Products in all 4 quadrants. They were lowest bid in all 4 at the total cost of $1,846,495.15.
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second to go with Bruning Rock Products for all 4 quadrants. Thank you. In total of $1,846,495.15. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All ayes. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming in.
Yep.
Thank you.
Right, sorry. Is there more you would like to discuss?
Sure.
And
Oh,
Can you,
we already voted on it, but
you sign them off for me?
you making another motion to have authorize me to sign?
again, and
You best.
I'll make another motion to authorize the chair to sign the rock bid.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All ayes. Any other questions for Roman?
How's the other equipment gone that you planned to purchase? The Mack truck will be, I think we're gonna be pretty fixed on that with our estimate, and then I think Jason was gonna start reaching out. I know he has reached out to Cass, and then he was gonna reach out John Deere to keep him honest, and whether we wanna stay with the fixed, make for our fleet, or if we will be open to bids coming from John Deere. So that's where we're at on that. The two trucks, one would be a half-ton crew cab short box, which would be for the engineer's department. There's no reason for us to need a 3/4 ton. Save a little on fuel, but then the other one would be a 3/4 ton crew cab long box.
You had on your last sheet Roush Brothers as well. Did you just have that on there?
They were bidding document holders. They probably submitted to Bruning or DMC their quote for.
Okay, I was gonna say, because I didn't see anything from that.
We just put the names of whoever is holding bidding documents. They've always done that.
Just wanted to make sure I didn't miss something.
No, you're right.
Okay, anything else for Roman?
When you guys introduce, start some spot rocking,
Out right now.
Corey's open or?
I know that we had a lot of stockpiles previously put up, so, and yeah, I'm sure they're hauling out of there, so. This week we'll probably see a lot of movement on it.
County Line Road up by Pembroke, I was up there this weekend. Do they have a moratorium on gravel roads, Howard County engineering?
I don't know.
There's a sign right there on Pembroke going east on the county line that says it's temporary restriction to 5 ton.
That probably is for that seal coat.
That's your code.
They ran that, it would have been, well, west of Rodeman, and then it stops at the one bridge. So I would guarantee that that's what that is for.
Cause I know we've never done that in this county. It sucks, but
How would you just make trucks couldn't go on it?
Chickasaw County has it for sure.
Winneshiek does it a little bit. I can't remember the dates that you can actually, that can only be for a certain amount of days or weeks. I mean, a lot of, you probably want to do it on, some of your thinner asphalt roads that are starting to fall apart. That's the whole reason that they do it, with the spring thaw coming out and the heavy truck traffic, it beats the hell out of it, so.
Just something maybe we need to look into.
Yeah, there's
And how long does that usually last?
You can only do it for 45 days.
Yeah, there's
a
a-
date.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure stuff's muddy or maybe it's not or thawed yet, but I would think you'd have an issue then with your farmers trying to get stuff out onto the fields.
But it's not just those, you got other people that go a lot of way too.
And then they're gonna be going on other roads, and maybe gravels.
Rain and everything else. Yeah.
So I know that's a gray area. You can only do it once a year too, right?
I think so.
So being this county line, can it be done twice? Being
I doubt it,
half theirs, half ours?
I doubt it. Worth checking into, but I would definitely doubt it.
But otherwise, Pembroke was pretty hard. Saturday morning.
Good,
It was good.
I know that we received a thank you from them, which was far different than most of the emails or phone calls, but no, that's good. Hopefully it maintains that way, I know.
Just keep the water off the road and be good. But it's hard to get a crown on that road
Yeah,
since it's about 3 wide.
yeah, it's never ending headache. Aside from that, they are starting the bridge down by Fredericksburg today. Sorry, I didn't put that on.
Are you guys taking the Kenwood one out? Or is that hidden?
Minnow is taking that.
What is the projected close time for that one?
Which one?
The one first for
I believe 80 days,
80 days.
and it really all depends on how big of a crew they bring.
Yeah.
John, I've never worked with PCI in 8 years here. I think Floyd did a lot, but John said sometimes their crews are pretty small. That's gonna affect everything there, but, the one on Kenwood, that's got 110 days. So if we're lucky, if they're starting now, you'd see maybe a road open by the end of July.
Kenwood, that should be closed pretty quick. I see the signs in the ditch there.
Yeah, they were actually gonna start today, but then it ended, now it's, they're gonna give us a week's heads up at least, and they're tentatively saying April 11th. I did put out an ad for summer help. See what that brings. I know one Iowa State student called about an internship with the engineer's office, and I just said, this is basically what we're gonna have as far as summer help for this year, so.
When does that new employee start?
Liza, that would be May 16th, whatever that Monday is, May 16th or 15th.
16.
And Spencer will be gone to bridge inspection training. You have to get that training to be certified in it. So last week of April, first week of May, it'll only be me around here and we'll have 2 bridge projects going on, so it's gonna be
Where's that at? Des Moines or something?
Ames.
Ames.
Liza will be certified in the testing that we need her to be before she's even not her first day, so that helps out a lot. Because if we had someone that was a good worker but wasn't certified, well then can't really sign off on stuff.
Do you want to send me your summer help and I'll put it out on our website underneath employment opportunities then? Okay, thank you.
It was gonna get in the paper maybe this week.
I had somebody already asked me about it, so it must have hit or somewhere they saw posted. I don't know where, but
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Thank you. I'll touch on discussing or move to discuss creating a policy for live streaming board supervisor meetings. As I'm sure you all saw, I put it at the bottom of our agenda with the link. It was my bad today. I planned on this being a live. It is, but I forgot to tell Stephanie to switch. She needs to move to the streaming account that has the that where that link is at. And then also there's an issue. It's not showing the previous meetings when I had uploaded it, and they changed them to public so people could see them. For some reason, that's not coming through. So I need to work on that as well. But then for this meeting that's recording now, I'll export it like I did all the other ones, and then re-import it into this new account, and then they'll be live, and then I'll show Stephanie for the next meeting how to switch accounts. That new account that we had Denny set up that I talked about a couple weeks ago that we had to pay for.
So is this a direct YouTube link or is it gonna be in our website or?
So it's a direct YouTube link. It's on the agenda. And then I was thinking it should be on our website as well under the supervisors, and then just have a little icon over in the left side or something where you can click it. I currently have it set up so that you only can get to it if you click the link. That way you can't just search for it on YouTube. And if we want that, I can change that. But that way they have to click the link to get it. That way we aren't open. I mean, anybody that comes to the website or looks at our minutes can click it. But
So currently just through the website, our county website.
well, you could
Access.
actually it's just on the minutes right now, or excuse me, the agenda. If you look at the bottom of the agenda. It's on there, and then I created a smaller URL. That's why it's this tiny URL. That way it was quite long, the YouTube link.
I talked to the website developers. They'll just put an icon up there for YouTube and I'll take it directly to your page so they can view whatever meetings they want to view.
And it shouldn't be hard. We can always throw it on our current one too. I can look at it.
Right.
So anyway, so on a policy, do we want a policy for when we use it? Use it at all? If we have a joint meeting somewhere, or we move upstairs, we want a policy that says we have to take it up there. It's the desire of the board.
I thought the Mitchell and Floyd County elected officials may have no such thing as policy.
Okay.
We just follow the chapter 21.8. Mitchell County actually told me that they're thinking about getting rid of it because they can't even get department heads to come to the meetings anymore. So, just a worry that could happen here too.
So how do they communicate?
They give you the documents and they don't explain anything. They just don't show up. So, just let me know what's going on. Talked to Senator Brown this morning about the same thing in the State House. A lot of people, a lot of lobbyists don't even talk at their Zooms, just because they're afraid to have that out there as a live feed. So just let me know what's going on with the state and county with this live stream. So, I'm okay with it. I'm just letting you know what's out there.
Okay,
People
so
are nervous
then-
they're gonna say something they shouldn't say.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it comes down to.
Granted, you're still recorded, but it's a lot easier to sit at your house and pull it up than it is to come here and request it.
So just, I don't care policy either.
Okay.
That's just my
Any other thoughts? Okay. Denny?
Yeah.
We have you for discuss the purchasing of Microsoft
I'd
Office.
like to take one, pass it on down the line there. Yeah, purchasing of Microsoft Office, we're operating on like versions 2007, 2003, so it's probably time for an upgrade there. There's incompatibility issues with the offices and documents that they get from other offices. So there are two options here, and that's a standard 21, which is, as you see in the description, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook. But we don't know how long that one's gonna be good for, be compatible. I mean, we're kind of at the mercy of Microsoft with that stuff, when they're going to discontinue service for it. So that'd be $112 per seat. That's including all the sheriff's, G-Tech laptops, tough books, everything like that, the nurses, Service Pros, all of that stuff. Now, that, we could have to do a reinstall down the line if we get a newer version after 2021 or whatever. If it goes up to 23 or whatever, you have to manually install it. You can't just do automatic update. And then you look at the 365 apps, which there are more apps, which I know that sometimes offices do use Publisher and things of that nature and Access. So that's only $35 per seat per year, and that's an automatic update. So that saves on my labor hours having to go in, uninstall, reinstall new versions, things of that nature. If it was my recommendation, I would go for that one. It'd be $2,800 a year. But you'd have no labor involved, so you would eliminate that cost as well.
So what's the licensing on the first option here? I know with Office 365, Microsoft 365, so if they have a terminal session versus a desktop session,
Mm-hmm.
with that, I have not looked up that licensing, but are you able to do that on?
Yes, with the apps, 365.
With the apps, I know you can, but what about the standard? Would it be less than 80? If
No, it
okay.
would not be less than 80.
I just meant that way we didn't have to license in both places. I'm not sure how that top option licenses, but
No, that's one seat.
okay.
That's it.
So then technically you'd need more than one.
Mm-hmm.
So technically that 80 number would be higher on the top
Yes.
option.
The automatic updates, does the person that uses it have to do?
No, it rolls out automatically. They don't have to know. They have to know about as much as they know right now, which is
I know.
very little.
This computer, when I open it, sometimes it says, do an update, upgrade.
To Windows 11,
Mhm.
which I always say no. Not to get too much into it, but every other version of Microsoft I would recommend going with. Just because Microsoft rolls out a version, after a good version, they roll out another version. Typically it's junk with a boatload of bugs, crashes, everything like that. You get a bunch of blue screens of death is what they call it. And then less than a year later, year or two later, and Matt, I'm sure that you've seen this over the years, they'll roll out another version that has all the fixes applied to it. So I think after a good version, they just roll out a version of Windows that they use as R&D and have the
Yeah.
customers do all the R&D, and then they roll it out with all the fixes. So I say skip every other version. That about answer that
It
question?
does.
Okay.
I just didn't know how
No,
to train
And
the staff.
if not, you can, it does pop up like a little ribbon or a banner
Yeah.
that says, please update, and you can click update and then it'll say close your, but if you're closing it every day and not, or at the end of the day, all of your Office products, it should just update the next time you open it up.
Right. Either that or it'll just randomly do it in the middle of the day sometimes, which is kind of inconvenient, but that happens. I say shut your computer down at least once a week. Just kind of like giving it a good long nap.
I would suggest the Microsoft 365 apps.
And not for nothing, but Matt is in charge of a lot of software out of the ethanol plant, and his opinion carries weight as much as mine does, so.
Is that the amount then, Denny?
Yeah, that'd be the amount approximately. And then the other thing I was wondering is, if we were going to go with the Office 365, this is going to be a yearly fee. Right around there, could be more, could be less. But can we just make that so that it automatically goes through every year and no offense, instead of me having to come up here
Purchase
and,
policy.
yeah. Kind of like with Shieldware and Home Solutions for public health and Tyler and stuff like that. It's just software that's needed, period, end of story, so.
I don't have a problem with it, but can we make said motion to do that, or would we have to address the purchase policy?
I was going to say the only thing that would be a problem is if there are different board members who weren't familiar with the expense and it's already policy. So would you just have a policy that they would read and say, what's this purchase? Right on down the line, if a new board member came in. Like Steve's new, so he's not familiar with a lot of Tyler and Shieldware and Home Solutions.
So if we do those other ones every year, can we just bundle those together?
I don't think so.
I know they're not at the
They
same.
don't come out of my budget
Yeah, they're
anymore,
not.
but
And you wouldn't pay them all in the same month or whatever.
No.
But
it seems pointless if it's needed software, unless you guys are fishing for alternative software. You know?
Because if it gets out of line, you're gonna tell us anyway to maybe look for somebody else.
Yeah, no, if it's out of line, I'm like, hey, open or leave your office is a good way to go, you know, whatever, but, in my opinion, right now, I think we should all go away from Windows, but that's a whole nother issue, so.
is there a motion from the board for either of these options?
I don't know how to word it. I'd make a motion to go with Microsoft 365 app at the price of $2803.20, and to authorize Denny to do this yearly.
The other thing is if I need to eliminate seats or add seats, I can do it on the fly. I don't have to just go purchase more. I can just go into the database of users and add more as needed.
Can I change, I'm gonna add that motion to say IT guy, not Denny, just in case. Should never use names, so.
I wonder if, sake of doing another motion, I wonder if we should just approve those all once at the beginning of the year. I guess we can see if this goes through. Is there a second on the motion?
I'll second for discussion. Just my issue is that the firm price, Denny.
Firm price is gonna vary. I'm sorry, there is no firm price there.
That's why.
80 is kind of a rough estimate there, okay? And there are going to be more seats purchased as the county gets more employees and more computers or laptops or whatever. So that 2803.20, that's a pretty, about as close as I'm gonna get it off the top of my head here.
That's why I hate to see that in the original.
So it should probably say the 3504 per prescription,
Per seat, yeah.
per seat, instead of the 2803.
That'll be okay.
For the first year.
Well, that's
Then we'll worry about setting it up
right.
yearly. We're doing it in January when we reorganize.
I would make a motion to amend my figure of 2803.20 to 3504 per prescription.
I'll second that.
So we need to approve the first motion or deny it first, or
Withdraw, sorry. It's easiest way.
you withdraw your previous motion?
Sure.
Okay, so, wanna read back the motion then, Stephanie? Before we vote on this?
Hold on just a second, please.
So while she's working on that, I just wanna ask from our end, from the practical perspective, Dane, what's this gonna look like and what are we gonna have to do, if anything?
Well, you guys are probably gonna have to learn the new look of Microsoft Office, because the older versions that you're using have, file menus like file, edit, stuff like that. And the newer ones are mostly icon based. They have what's called a ribbon up at top. I guess in my estimation, it's a little bit annoying, but
So
I guess that's in the name of progress.
when is this gonna come into force, number one? Number two, all the hundreds of documents that I have in the last 6
They'll all
months.
convert over just
They're all
fine.
gonna convert over just fine. Okay.
It'd be an issue going the other way.
Yeah.
If you had a new version, then you tried to open it on 2007.
Yeah, then even with your converters and stuff like that, that could open up the newer documents. It's still not gonna format exactly the same if you go back to older.
And am I gonna come to work just one morning, it's gonna be on there, or is it gonna be something I'm gonna have?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you to leave your computer on and I'll log in and upgrade it as well as your laptop and stuff like that.
Okay, so I guess, just speaking for people who aren't here, we have a department head meeting on Wednesday, would that be something that you should come to let us know this is gonna happen, or are you able to come to?
I can bring it up otherwise.
Or someone tell everyone what's gonna happen here, for those that aren't here,
I can bring
so
it
they
up.
don't get surprised when they come to the office and their computer on.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Do you have an approximate date that you want people to do that?
That I want people to do that, I'm just gonna, yeah, I'll let them know.
Okay.
I'll let each department know. Depending on time, because I'm not gonna do it during the middle of the day. That seems kind of depriving people of their work time kind of deal. I want them typing away as much as possible.
So Byrne withdrew his motion, so now we're on to the new one, so motion by Byrne, and it was second by whom? Hackman, right?
Yes.
To approve the purchase of Microsoft 365 apps for enterprise at the rate of $35.04 per seat. And then did you want that secondary part in there that authorize the IT to purchase the Microsoft 365 annually or not?
I will, yes.
Okay, is there any other discussion on this? If not, all in favor say aye.
I
Opposed? Motion carried, all ayes. Got 1 minute to 10:45.
Thank you.
There's another seat in here too.
Stephanie, just for 10:45, do you have any documentation to review?
Oh, yeah. I think that Melissa was gonna discuss what the VA wanted.
Yep.
$10:45. Looks like you are requesting a budget amendment, potentially.
We are looking at increasing the budgets for this fiscal year to $16,719. Doing the math with the fiscal year and between now until June, as you can see in the columns of the salaries, stationery and forms, phone and internet, FICA and hypers.
Did we just miss stationary forms?
We were in the negative with stationary and forms, so we're looking at pulling for additional.
So why wasn't there a budget amount when I got a zero? Just asking a question.
The reason for it is because their grant paid for it before. They have no more money in the grant, correct?
Correct.
Gotcha.
So it was a $10,000 grant. Those funds have now been utilized, so
So that makes sense, why it was zero. Thank you. So we're gonna use the whole grant out for salary and bike and hikers?
We were,
Or next year?
No, for this current year.
it's
Oh.
used up. It's all gone.
It's all gone.
yeah.
Did you have any other budget amendment stuff you wanted us to look at as well?
Well, Marty would also have to, because we discussed
Okay.
fuels last time and we didn't have a specific dollar amount, right? We just kind of, right, you guys wanted to get some feedback, so Marty and I worked together.
So Stephanie had provided me a complete, up-to-date year of fuel expenses. That was probably the number one issue. So I tried to project, assuming that the price is gonna stay about the same. The thing's picking up, so that's probably the biggest number, the biggest hit. Also got a printout here and, let me see here. So in the uniform patrol, which consists of 5 deputies, 70% of the way through the year, we're already at 104%. And pretty much reads, that we're over all the way through there and stuff. So the fuel is the one area that I was looking at. And then, of course, the housing of inmates, we've already exceeded our budget allotment there. And then we're gonna be spending another $6,300 on Mr. Patry or in Fayette County. And then I've already, I guess, eaten the price of the replacement vehicle for $34,995. And then the company that is equipping that vehicle, they came up today, so they're gonna be doing that. So we're looking at an approximate cost of $17,000 for that. Now, we did receive a refund from the insurance company in the amount of $52,769. So in the total there, I'm actually, I guess, asking for new additional money minus what, the insurance company did. It's about 28,820, just under 29,000. Hoping that'll be enough. I was working on claims after I left the board meeting here earlier this morning and signed another $3,900 in vehicle repairs just in the last couple of weeks.
Are you gonna be over budget in that line item then, on repairs? For this current
Probably.
year?
Probably, yeah.
But within his whole budget, he still has that 34,000. It's already paid for. Right, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
that 35,000 dissolved through itself throughout the budget.
Yeah, so had I not had to do that, we'd be looking at a whole different kind of ballgame. Then the biggest issue would probably just be the fuel cost, maybe housing of inmates. But, since I did just kind of absorb that in my budget of 35,000.
I see it, Marty, thank you. Got a question for VA. Someone told me on that, did we change providers or why the additional $400?
We did change providers. We went through the municipal, the city municipal. Reason being is we now have EFACs. because I have a lot of medical documents that are faxed to the office. Prior to that, the phone number was the same as fax number, so I wouldn't be getting faxes when I was on the other line, vice versa, so. So everything comes electronically straight to email now.
Moving forward, is that a new contract then with the city?
It's
Or
not
next
a
year's budget?
contract, but that will be 125, the normal bill will be moving forward. So we calculated that in for the remainder of the fiscal year.
What about next year?
Yes, we
We still have to do a an amendment for next year's budget. We haven't gotten that far yet.
Thank you.
Next meeting.
I do not see any issue with two amendments. I don't know if there's anybody else that needs to be part of the
I've sent out that email, and the VA and the sheriffs were the only ones that said that they needed an amendment. I did talk to Dave a little bit about maybe what we need to do is decrease the amount that we allotted in the salary for the assistant attorney and reallocate that to the special attorney fees for the upcoming unknown with the inmate we currently have.
The internal accounting thing, not.
Yes,
not a
yes.
request for additional funds.
Right,
Make sure I'm clear on
yes,
that.
yeah. He's not requesting additional funds. I'm just thinking that we need to reallocate it to
And
the
you'll still
GL.
have enough for the outside attorney.
Essentially, it was like $51,000 that we would just move out of that salary line item. And then we put in the special attorney fees, and then we could also decrease FICA and IPERS if we wanted to as well.
51,000 for,
That was the remaining for that line item for salary, because we did pay some out
I was gonna say
prior
that-
to,
special attorney fees isn't that amount, is it?
no,
I might
it's,
have misunderstanding.
Two different line items.
Because there's not an assistant there.
correct.
They don't, aren't using those funds yet, but they're gonna use it for the hiring outside. Leave, that's what she's trying to say.
Yeah, it's just shifting it around.
It's
Right.
shifting within your own budget.
Correct. It's not a
And you
request.
are probably gonna stay within that budget for this current year.
And then, we can, amend the interest that I calculated for the radio communication project, which I took Sue's interest rate and then did the average daily balance and figured that out to be $6,347 for the interest through the end of March. So we could tack that on. So that would increase that expenditure to $1,011,912. We can also decrease the expenditure for the LEMC building because we are done with that project. So we can put that back into capital projects.
Talking about capital projects with that, we have two things. The capital project fund. Did we ever move interest over before?
No,
We've never done that from the start of the bond.
no.
So then your print off that you gave us for that project, would have, what do I have here?
Yep.
That'll show
Was that 2
representative
weeks ago?
rate of interest to 4.5 million.
Just printed it off and gave it to you guys.
Got mine right here.
Okay.
So under remaining balance, you can add an additional 6,000.
Yep. You would need to add in the interest, yes. And then I wrote on there the 750,000 on the side for ARPA, because that is in a completely different fund. So just keep that in mind.
Along with that capital project radio tower, and Jeff, don't yell, please. We want this project done. I know there's been issues with it. We have no expense authority for the next fiscal year. So, for that being said, the remaining capital balance of that project is $265,000 on June 1st, or July 1st. That goes right back to the bond. And I don't know who's gonna pay the bills moving forward. If Motorola can't get their project done, or you can't get your project done. Again, we're gonna follow that same thing about a budget amendment July 1st again, just to spend that $265,000 if we don't receive the bills? Or does it come out of 911 funds?
There's that, and you were just gonna take cameras out of there, weren't you?
Right now, but,
Yeah, but remember, we never budget anything for next July 1st.
No, we didn't.
So
So it would have to be done, yes, this fiscal year.
same situation we had last year with this project not being done. And I'm not blaming you, I'm not blaming anybody. It's just when the project needs to be done. And at what point do we give the excess bond money and the interest back to the principal? Is that gonna be July 1st? That's my intention, but have you even went out for camera bids or have we went out for land purchase? Because we didn't put that land purchase in our July 1st budget either. So if we can get 2 land purchases, and I'm looking at April this week, that throws a whole wrench in the whole purchase of land, completion of the project, completion of the cameras that are needed. It's there to be spent this year, this fiscal year. So we have 3 months to spend it. If not, that $271,000 will go back to the principal.
Didn't our bond attorney or whatever say to something to hold that, or there was some comment about?
Hold it for 2 years after the project is completed.
Yeah, but we have no spending authority.
We do not, and it would sit there unless you guys do a budget amendment, but it doesn't technically go back to the bond unless you make that motion.
Correct. And the other budget amendment is Fund 10. That would be what?
Yep, I have that listed. And you guys discussed that last time that we were going to increase the Fund 10 expenditure by 70,000. Just so that way we can disperse those funds prior to June 30th of this fiscal year.
Have any other questions for VA or Sheriff's Department?
No, I think for next week, we need to see a finalized sheet and a date for publication, and if nobody else is coming forward for a budget amendment, we need to get done in April here, or beginning of June. Because when do you guys will be out of money to make payroll?
They only had 11,000 and some odd dollars left in their budget, so it's not gonna last very
That's gonna
long.
be the ticket.
Right.
If we don't do it soon enough, then no claims will be paid.
Payroll too.
Payroll too, yes.
Exactly.
That's what he's referring to.
So. Hopefully we can vote on it next Monday and get the 10-20 posting out and get the money appropriated.
Sounds good. Thank you for coming in.
Melissa, just a quick question. The second page is just information.
Yep.
Thank you.
And we can jump to discuss lease agreement with Prairie View Management, DVA Inspiring Lives. I forwarded you all an email. I DCC'd it and then put down at the bottom who I sent it to, just so we didn't have a reply all. They are giving us notice of termination. They also sent this in the mail as well. It's the same letter if anybody would like to see it. They're hoping to be out by October 1st, if not sooner. Question today, I guess, is how the board wants to move forward.
So I don't know what happened, and I'll try to be critical correct here in some of this. Their inventory list does not match what we have on file. I counted, I think Friday, I counted 9 pages. The one we have on file, I think it's 15. 17. So we're missing inventory, first of all. 15 there are 9, I believe. I would assume, maybe an email back to her, the check mark means I have it. I don't know, right? On mine, there's no check marks. On the one we got back from them, there's check marks and like 4 trees, 2. So does the check mark mean they still have it in their possession? And I like to see the other 6 sheets where they at. I think that's gonna come critical if they are actually terminating the lease. Second question, I was up in the auditor's office and I pulled the insurance of that building. It says we have $60,000, so the building's valued at 2 million and some odd cents. And there's 60,000 in contents. Do we assume that 60,000 is the inventory list? I hope so, maybe not. And then when you look at their budget for the moving forward, which you're supposed to give to us annually, I think an email back to Laura would be water and sewer. Why are they paying close to $13,000 for water and sewer when it has a well and a sewer without utilities? Just some more explanation. If we're gonna take over the building again come October 1st, I'd like to know why 13,529 was line item water and sewer. Maybe there's some issues that we don't know about. Does that include the chemical? Does that include the testing? Does that include pumping the sewer? Who knows? Going back to your letter, October 1st is a bad time for this county to take over ownership with our building, of the building. Just an example, do we turn around and get a 90-day notice? Again, October 1st is gonna hit our budgets very hard for keeping that building open. Snow removal to heat, maintenance, boiler, license, generator. If we are certain to take this notice today, do we capital project this and remodel it for town use? You know, something in that letter says, do we put Dayhab back into it? Do we put, I've been up here for 6 years, you know, we've heard the need for storage, and if we get off topic, either David, I guess we accept this, or we move forward with plan B to use it countywide, or do we sell
I think it's all related to the lease agreement, so
Yeah, I think
the fact that you're terminating it, what you're gonna do with it is all related conversations.
it? How many times did we hear Pathways wants an office in New Hampshire? Currently, we don't have a CSS staff in Chickasaw County. Do we move VA down there? Do we move public health? Do we move this? Do we move this? Do we move Northeast Side Community Action? Do we sell 2 buildings? There's so much to think about here, guys. I think they're done. The way I read the letter, they're done.
Looks that way.
That's probably good. Why are they turning that down? What's the reasons?
The reason is the $2,000. When we had that consensus for $2,000 a month for rent, they can't justify it. You look at their budget, I'm not gonna break apart their budget, but it is their budget. You know, when they say their total income's a little bit over $1 million, and they spent 1.2 million, they were in deficit $165,000 per their budget. Some of this has to go back to CSS on Wednesday. You know, CSS has a little bit of cash reserves the state wants it down below 40%, I believe. You know, is that $2,000, is that part of the new DHS? Should they be funding Chickasaw and Fayette for their service needs? Why should the county of Chickasaw taxpayers subsidize this building?
I thought at one time they were ready to sign it for 2,000.
They were, the way I interpreted it.
So what happened?
I have no idea.
There's gotta be some reason.
The only reason is that it says $2,000.
Did you not, you were referring to the inventory. Did you have, how many pages did you have? Because I have 9.
Yeah,
That's the one she sent us.
Yep.
But the one on the master contract in the auditor's office is this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17.
And that was from what year?
2013, 2014. And I don't think, I can compare each page to each page, but we're missing some stuff. Again, that's all county property that I was aware of. Refrigerations to washing machines to, the building has a generator already, a working generator, which I know that was some of ARPA's committee's concerns. That has a built-in generator in the building, you know. There's some people that think we need living corridors for EMS service. Doesn't matter what it is down the road. There's living quarters already there. Just future plans of that building. If we accept their termination. I think they're out. I don't think there's. We've had, what, David, 7, 8 meetings? And I think we're down to a point where
Yeah,
they decided to terminate.
It's your decision policy-wise going forward, but I'll just give you my comment, because I think it's warranted given the tone of her letter, but, you know, the fact of the matter is, it's a 2-page letter, and all but 2 sentences are about the process itself, and procedural issues, not addressing the issue at hand, which is whether you want to pay it or not. And you guys have cited, several of you on several meetings, and that seems to be a pattern that we never ever want to talk about what we want to talk about. We want to talk about other things, which that's why I took this letter again. And my response is, if you're really serious about keeping it open and doing what's best for the region and for your business and for your nonprofit, one would have suspected the letter would have said, hey, would you take 1,000? Would you take 1,500?
My thought is,
Or would
if
you have said, hey, we're paying you $14,000 to feed your inmates. Maybe we trade food for the inmates for no rent. Or, hey, here's our budget. We clearly don't have the money. We're operating at a loss. Is it possible for us to come up to the board and explain to you all of our success stories? And here's how good we're doing. And here's all the lives we've changed. And plead with you to change it. There's none of that. Absolutely zero of that.
I kind of wonder if they're waiting for a counter offer, or waiting for us to counter.
My opinion is there's zero of that. So if they really wanted to keep it, if they really wanted to manage it, if they really wanted to do it, there would have been one of those options, in my opinion. And the fact that they didn't discuss any of those, to me, indicates that
They're done.
they're done. That's my opinion. I guess I'll use the word disappointed. I'm disappointed by the tone of the letter and the fact that it spent 2 sentences on saying we can't afford 2,000 and then the other 2 pages berating the process, as opposed to, hey, here's what we propose as an alternative.
Here's a counter offer.
Correct. Well, here's our plea.
Here's a suggestion,
Yeah.
or can we meet with you?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're sending you our budget to show you we have no money. Therefore, can we come up to the board and explain to you all the success stories we've had and beg and plead to keep it, to do it? There's none of that. It's disappointing, in my opinion.
I agree with what you're saying. I'd just like to know what the train wreck was on the $2,000. That was agreed to as a consensus.
You're asking from here?
I'm asking,
Oh,
is the consensus of $2,000 and then there's no counteroffer like?
oh, yeah, that's a question.
That's what I don't get.
Yeah.
What created the It's just a train wreck right now.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question. Call down and talk to them, I guess, because we've made it clear from day one what I think these guys and myself have made it clear from day one what we wanted, and there's been no response.
And that's where that whole thing is, with the whole DHS taking over funding of the region. Moving forward, is Fayette County gonna get funds from the region? You know, why can't the region pay this bill?
Is that something you could ask at your meeting?
It pretty much came up Wednesday about the excess funds, and I'll give that update in a little bit about
Yep.
CSS, but why can't that be an expense that the region pays? When there's for sure not, you gotta be careful, residents in there throughout the region.
And even with 15 residents, to me, that $2,000 goes a long ways. And yes, in her meeting, it said, or in her letter, it said that they had additional costs that kind of we weren't looking at, was the way I interpreted it. But because I would think to go and try and shuffle, what's the correct word? People that live there, to have to shuffle that around for $2,000 to me is, it's not my business. I guess I don't run it.
Well, I also think that she, right or wrong, she has a perception that different than I think the reality of this board and my office and the sheriff's office. And I'm not going to give details, but I think her perception of those three offices or organizations' view of her is different than what she thinks it is.
And I mean, direction from you all, but when I reply to that email, I could say, is that $2,000 something that the region could pick up? If $2,000 is the sticking point.
Well, I think at this point, it's her job to figure out. She didn't counteroffer.
But they didn't.
And she didn't,
But she
so it's
said,
her job to come up with those funds if they want to stay there.
but she
But
said in
she
our
is-
meeting when you brought up that they didn't counteroffer and they could have
Mhm.
countered. She acted like she didn't even know that they could counteroffer. She thought that 2,000 was firm, and I kind of made that clear in the meeting. Even towards the end of the meeting, I said our consensus is $2,000. It's where we're at. It's where this board is at. It's where I was directed to come up here and tell you it's $2,000.
So they own what? How many houses in the area too?
I could not answer it. You know, trying to start that Hirsch house, in West Union. That one time I thought it was like 3 or 4 between Union and Fredericksburg, but. That number.
So I wonder if they pull out of them houses too and list them and sell them and.
I don't know where people would go or.
Is Sheriff Freeman aware of this, because that does affect his department too with meals?
Yes, I was over there for a meeting on Thursday with 3 of them and myself and Marty, Ryan and Jordan, the jail administrator, and we talked about a variety of issues and cases, and this came up as well. So they've already reached out and they've indicated it won't be a problem to fill in the gap for meals. So they told me if that's the board's hang up, with terminating, that should be the hang up, so.
Just a concern.
Yep, they're aware of it, they've addressed it, they're ready to move on from it, so.
So I have down to when in my return email, the check mark mean that this is in your possession. Water and sewer, why they're paying close to 13,000, and we're missing pages from inventory. Do you want me to bring up? Is that something the region could pick up, the $2,000, if that's the hang up, or just write it off and?
To me, that's their job.
That's right.
Okay.
So what do you, I guess I'm gonna ask this because it's bugging me all weekend. When I read the contract that they had to take care of repairs and maintenance, what's the reason she's noted $142,000 in major equipment repairs, leasehold expenses, and minor expense repairs? To me, it's part of the contract. And why do you list that as no mention of this cost of building maintenance and repairs? When I read the contract, it was their duty to take care of that stuff for the $1 a year.
She didn't list anything that she did, just says repairs.
Just for a
What's the
month.
amount?
Is that over the
Yeah.
years that
Over
Well,
since
no.
2014.
Mhm.
because anything major, we paid for it.
Remember, guys,
Unless it's getting countered in or factored in the amount that they've had to fix things like a broken window and
But that's the residents' fault that.
correct. I'm just saying, I wonder if that's
So last year,
getting
they
factored in
they
there.
leased that dishwasher, remember?
yeah.
Right, so I'm wondering if things like that they're factoring in.
Could be.
So I guess the way I see it, the ship has sailed. How do we want to move forward? Do we want to
Just
try and
receiving
reap
file.
her?
So again, I guess from a legal perspective, you probably should respond at some point. So your response should either say, yes, we would agree that you need to be out by no later than October 1. If you can be out sooner, you need to give us as much advance notice as possible as to that date. Or you say, hey, for budgetary and practical purposes, we're gonna send you notice that July 1 is gonna be, June 30 is gonna be the last day. I think that's your call. Policy wise, that plays into what are you gonna do with it? Come July 1, how are you gonna pay for it? Unfortunately, that goes to the larger issue and the 800-pound gorilla that's in the room, which is the meeting from last Monday and Tuesday, in my opinion.
Mhm.
If you got ARPA money, do you wanna, put lipstick on a pig and fix it up, or is it able to be fixed up to office space for all those other places? Or when do you make that decision? Is that decision made before July 1? Is that decision made next August or September after you figure out what's going on with VMS? How soon do you want the building? But I agree, I think the ship has sailed, we need to respond to something. We need to respond to something. Say either we agree to the October 1 date, or we're moving it up, or whatever it might be.
When, because that study, the feasibility study won't be done till, when did you say, August?
June?
June?
Oh, I think it'll be done in 3 months from Monday, so.
That's end of June.
End of May, end of June.
Yeah.
I mean, it already has living quarters in it. Has office space in it. Got the kitchen. Could be a board supervisor meeting room. I know some people don't like to hear this, but you can sell the East Main and sell the LEMC. County attorney would move to the public health location with custodian. And then everybody else down at this community service building on South Lynn. Less properties, less maintenance, less custodial staff, less snow, less grass, less lot. Put it back in the tax roll. Just ideas. And then and to me, a lot of those, we talked about it for years, a lot of those services are off of each other. Northeast Community Action, Veterans Affairs, Public Health, Sanitation, Helping Hands, all under one location. So much easier for the citizens to find that location. And it's on the bypass, in a quick response. They can get to Fredericksburg, get to Nashua. So just some ideas.
I'm going down a rabbit hole, but the only thought is using that facility for, let's say, proposed ambulance would be then you'd almost have to have all of your staff there. They couldn't drive from town. You'd be paying them full-time wages. You couldn't respond from your house. That'd be 2-3 miles outside of town. But I can respond to her, let her know. I guess, yeah, the question is if we want to serve 90 days or wait till October 1st. I think that's the only other question we have here today.
I myself think we should think about a 90-day. Like, ask them to be out July 1st. We send it notice this week, that's still a little bit more than 90 days.
Her last sentence, a little,
They don't think they can be out.
no, I gotta read the last sentence. Is it's just a little alarming. This email came to Matt on the 22nd. We are grateful for the support we received over the past many years. We will begin notifying residents and the appropriate agencies and payees on March 30th. I mean, do they want a response from us, or why would they even throw March 30th in this email?
I think they're waiting to counter. It's my opinion. Because they were told they could have countered, and now I guess is their chance.
But that doesn't say nothing about that, even the whole thing. It's just, we thank you for your support, and we'll start notifying the residents and their agencies on Wednesday.
I don't think it's our responsibility to counter. They said they're out.
Well, then it's up to this board to accept their deadline, or if we set our own. So that we can start moving forward, looking at what to do with that building.
My only thing though is that October 1st, like I said, and I was with Tim this weekend too, that's a long time from now.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't know the placement, I don't know where these individuals have to go, I don't know how many people are out of it today. I think the number moves every single day, you know. And are we gonna get that black eye, because the state's trying to make rules right now to get more beds for mental health. And then we look like we're letting go 15 beds or 16 beds, whatever the number is.
We have to remember there used to be 30 beds.
They are.
There used to be 30
So the black
beds
eyes on
until the
that.
state.
Just
Well,
wanna be fair,
Wouldn't you think?
I would hope so.
But then if we turn around and say, nope, you're out at this date, then that's not going to look good either.
I think you gotta draw a line in the sand.
My only response to that is that, I don't know what day it was, I'll look back at my notes, whatever day we went down there and talked to them about potentially buying it. Within a week, they were already talking with people, because I had a deputy come in and ask me about it, because the person who delivers the food from down there had said they were gonna close the facility within a couple months. And then I had a defense attorney go down there to have someone sign something, he came in and asked about what we were gonna do with it, because he said that the defendant said that he was gonna be out of there in a couple months. So, I mean, it's not as though it's not as though it's a surprise to them. They've had now what, probably at least 45 days where they've known this is on the front burner and is a possibility.
So they're telling their clients essentially that they're gonna be moving them already.
I'm not gonna say what they told them, I'm gonna say what these guys told me.
Because it got brought up in the meeting, Tim and
I wanna
I.
be very careful with that. I'm not saying what they may have told them, I'm saying what defense counsel has told me.
Yeah, because it got brought up in the meeting that Tim and I and David and the sheriff's department was at, that somebody let it out or something like that, that somebody let this out.
And she made the comment
and then
that she was struggling to hire people at a rate because the
They
word
knew
was out that it was gonna be closed.
it was closed.
So she couldn't get anyone to come work there because they didn't wanna come work there if it eventually was gonna be closed. So I mean, I'll try to stay out of this. I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed in the whole, not from you guys. I'm very disappointed in the whole process and the response itself. Just leave it.
Okay, what's the desire? Do we want to say, inform them that we'll be serving them 90 days or
I'm okay
October
with that.
1st?
I'm okay with
I
90
think it
days.
should be a motion though, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think
Right.
if that's what you wanna do, and I would say June 30 is the end of the fiscal year, that's the end of the contract date. I mean, the contract's supposed to roll over July 1. So if that's your desire, my recommendation would be you
Roll call,
motion, you move that, direct me to send a letter that effective June, we terminate the lease back in June 30, 2022. If that's your desire.
I'd make a motion to serve notice to Sparring Lives that they're done effective June 30th, 2022.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and second. Any further discussion?
We going to have the attorney then send him a letter or?
Yes.
So you gotta file the contract, so you gotta send it to the board chair.
Yeah, I have our address in here from the last time, so we'll do it directly away and serve it.
So Stephanie, what's the motion then?
Motion by Burns, second by Brightbrock, to direct the county attorney to draft a letter to provide Prairie View Management DBA Inspiring Lives a 90-day notice to terminate the lease agreement effective June 30th, 2022.
Yeah, I don't know if that's in any days, it just say effective June 30th, 2022. We have to give them at least 90 days.
Right.
So-
July 1st, effective? Whichever it does.
Repeat.
Because
It's
we're not telling them they have 90 days from the date that I'm sending it. We're
Okay,
telling them that June 30th is their last, is that,
Right.
if I'm hearing you
Right.
right, that's your intent.
Yeah.
As long as it's 90 days.
so, a notice to terminate the lease agreement
Effective
effective June 30th, 2022.
Which in theory would be within the next, outside of 90 days. We
All
keep it
right.
on these 90 days.
Motion and second. Any further discussion?
I mean, I think there's gonna be a lot of questions down the road here about inventory, about the condition of the building when they leave. But that's on July 1st. Of what's left and the condition of the building when they leave. Just my worry of the tenant.
Okay, there's no further discussion. Let me find this again here. Okay. Roll call. Byrne,
Aye.
Brightbach,
Aye.
Zoll,
Aye.
Hackman,
No.
myself, nay. Motion passes 3-2.
Just remember, guys, there's a lot of stuff in that building, and a lot of stuff owned by the county, and insured by the county. Not saying anybody's gonna do anything with it, but at some point, Dave Gorman is fully aware of what's going on here, and I have no idea what he even knows as our custodian of that building. So there's gonna be a lot of maintenance on the generator and stuff like that, so.
Okay, we all received an email, discuss Chickasaw County Public Innovations and Efficiency PI opportunities. I believe that was sent to everybody.
Since our fiscal year was done last November, December, that was sent in, right, Stephanie?
Yep.
So I guess we're looking at efficiencies for this fiscal year currently, like maybe like this week or, what was this mentioned on this agenda?
So, it's a competition, obviously, for our governments to create efficiencies, save taxpayer dollars. And, I've heard it from some that maybe we weren't as competitive as we could have been. So I didn't know if the board would like to challenge the department heads to create efficiencies, within their department. There's always an evolution of the use of technology versus paper and pen. A lot of counties also have gone to lights that only go on when there's movement and they go automatically off. We have that problem with a certain floor in this building that our custodian has to come back at night sometimes, and when he sees a light when he drives past, is that something that we look at? Hands-free things, things of that nature. So I guess I just wanted to bring it to the forefront of the board. Do as you please with it, but it is an opportunity for us to create efficiencies.
No, I think it's a great idea, it's just that we can't, quote, micromanage any elected official.
You could encourage.
We can encourage. Some of the things I wrote down over the weekend was, cross-train. We've been bringing that up a lot of times, I have in budget work sessions. Turn off computers when we're not using them, which also goes with occupancy sensors for the bathrooms. It's kind of neat to see a state contractor, I believe it's a state contractor, being involved. He walks up and he shuts all the lights off sometimes when they've been on all morning, So, some people are doing it, but is the general county official trying to conserve energy? Another one I wrote down, I talked about, less building, less grounds. That's always efficiencies. And some people, why do we keep buying county conservation grounds when we have close to 2,100? Those are all recommendations. We take field bids. A field bid this year would have been a great example to be more efficient. Some years it might get you. And Jeff, I know we're working on this one. We got to stop renting 2 tower sites and have our own tower sites. Anything that we rent seems like that's just throwing away good money, I believe. When we have the funds to move forward with our own towers. That's what I wrote down. Again, and I know it's gonna be tough. We have a lot of paper. We see a lot of paper every day, but we still have that screen up there, But I understand there's something we did, land use. When we do that with Ray, that goes away. No more paper with that. I remember past, we always got a copy of that. Minor subdivisions. So good job there. And just trying to get the department heads to work with us, or we work with them about efficiencies and maybe combining offices, or I think there's a new bill right now that the assessor could be a joint county with another county. I might pass here this week or next week. So I think the state's trying out with some of these joint efforts, that's the thing I talked about this morning. DHS and Iowa Department of Public Health. And if you ever heard Rob Stan talk before at town hall, he thought this initiative was his duty as a county, as a state auditor, to find efficiencies in government. So,
Do we currently have people using space heaters and stuff?
Certain offices.
Certain offices. I don't know that any of them are within this building.
they are, and at
I
one
was just
time-
looking at that document that states.
And little windows, there's drafts at the public health building that hopefully gets fixed, insulation values. Public health building does have occupancy sensors in the 2 bathrooms, but I don't think anyone in the courthouse would do. But there is cost, there is cost to install those.
That's what I was wondering, that how much it costs you, not saying it's justifiable, but to leave it on versus how long it would take to recoup that or save that money.
Well, if you go to LED lighting instead of some of these fluorescents already, LEDs don't cost hardly anything to run compared to these, so put the sensor in, put LED lighting in, you'll save a lot of money.
Is it something we could send an email back out to?
Well, like in that instance, it's your building, so you guys take that initiative. So I guess
Every light in here is LEDs. They look like a fluorescent, but they're actually an LED.
That's what I was wondering.
They were all changed about 2 years ago, and I think that was on one of our first reports with the pie that I did. But it's hard to go out there because those are all antique or historic lights, and you really can't find an LED light bulb for some of those chandeliers out there in the rotunda areas. But, just shut the light switch off and be done with the bathroom, I mean, I tell my kids that all the time, but they're doing a better job with it. And I don't know if, I wish Marty was here for this one, but, and Jeff, I guess, maybe it is a concern with public safety. And don't, just a question, do we really have to leave all cars running all day long? I'm just asking the question,
The main thing is electronics.
Just-
I mean, it's not so foreign when I get in there, type thing, it's electronics in the vehicle. The squad cars, for sure.
I mean, but we don't leave the squad cars in the heated garage at night or on the weekends, they're all out in the cold, and,
I think it's just for the fact that when they're running their equipment, it kills battery, right?
I can see when they're in it, but go in a parking lot, for example, and just see it running with nobody in it. I just-
And even if it got shut off for an hour, wouldn't be drop the temperature that much unless it was really cold out.
I don't know what their policy is, but I know when I was over there, we discussed a wide range of topics last week, and that wasn't one of the things we discussed. I mean, I don't think they said, hey, we're gonna direct everyone to do this, but they did talk about now that winter's over, is there a necessity with gas prices to keep them running? So I'm not gonna speak for Marty, I just say what, if he did anything about it, but I know it was discussed when I was over there, so.
That one time I heard it was because they want the engine block warm if they're in pursuit, right? I get that point on an engine, but how warm do you need it? Just those things, guys, that I see, and I think the general public's seeing some of it too.
What I was gonna say before, could Stephanie send an email out to just remind people to look for efficiencies? I'm not saying it's gonna help, but
You can bring it up Wednesday, I guess.
that would work too.
Yeah, I don't know how many departments actually filled out the fire initiative this year. There's about, 4 or 5 elected officials at that town hall, at the park that day. I know Jeff was there. think
I was
Stephanie
there.
and Matt and me. Yeah, but anyway,
Okay.
So I guess is the board interested in setting any efficiency goals, or are you guys just gonna discuss it and leave it? I'm just asking.
I've got a lot of them.
Only thing we could do is look into, I guess I'm not sure where the lights are getting left on, but if it's an area we could,
Well,
it's a bathroom or something, if we could put in a sensor or see what the cost is, then the second question is then do we have to hire an electrician? Or is that something that Dave could address or take care of?
I don't think Dave will do it, because there's gonna be conduit and internal wiring, because the occupant sensor usually is at the door when it opens. Because you're not supposed to go in a dark room, so, and then it gotta be set right too, because if somebody's using the restroom and then it shuts off, and then you have other issues, so.
Yep.
There's a lot of issues there with those. That's what they are.
Well, I can bring it up Wednesday. See if anybody has any other thoughts and we can address it next week.
And that's the thing with the boiler, those courthouses are run by a boiler. Right now, we're in that season of happy medium. I usually do it too, it's cooking off heat, but the windows goes open because the thermostats are working against each other. And they're far away from the source. So that's wasting energy too. So.
Bring it up Wednesday. Discuss the conflict of interest policy. Has everybody had a chance to review it?
I think last week I already thought we needed to Tim and me to contact Mike Galloway, but back it down.
Correct. So
Yeah.
Stephanie had reached out to them and we had gotten a copy and Stephanie had said that you had already given us it, or I could print it out again, or we could print it out.
No, I had emailed that one, but you guys have the other one that was drafted.
Where she said the longer one.
There was 2 that she sent, yes.
Just to pop up here.
But sent it to Laudner to,
I have it.
okay.
Can you print that out, please? You
Yep.
can just hand it out, or I can forward this email as well.
Yep.
I was under the impression everybody already had a copy.
I thought you meant the original, not the,
I think you got it in the email. In your email.
Correct. Yep.
Galloway sent you.
Correct. Yep. Stephanie had forwarded it, sent it to me, and then I forwarded it to you. But I was.
I don't think I have
But I
Galloway.
don't think-
I'm gonna print it right
Well,
now.
she's gonna
So-
print it out.
When there was miscommunication between him and Matt and I, because you guys have the original conflict of interest policy that we proposed. And then I forwarded on what Allers and Cooney, and I think that's what Matt wanted printed, and I thought he was talking about the first one.
I don't know if we touch on it next week again. It's 3-4 pages long.
Are you stopping that at department heads?
I'm sorry.
Are you starting stopping at that department heads, or you going to employees on down?
That was the discussion. That's what Tim said.
The example of that, just that I'm aware of, the department head didn't know anything about it, but the situation I'm aware of, there were 4 employees. One ponied up a dummy company, and the 3 employees worked for him and were selling chemicals to a city entity. And they got caught. So maybe you wanna take it down to employees too. There were
Well,
several
I think Tim
That's
$100,000.
what, that's what we discussed, whether we want to keep it for department heads
Yeah,
or all employees. But that's how we can change the language in this conflict of interest that we received.
just giving you an example, that's what happened down there. And several $100,000 a year that the city got rooked. Same way would be the county.
And Ann Smishik stated, if we wanted this for the Board of Supervisors specifically, I would recommend using the long version. Because there's a short version, as you see, and the long version. Did you have any thoughts offhand, Dave?
No, I, her area of expertise, no, no,
Okay.
if you wanna have some kind of, this is an excellent starting point, or ending point, depending on how much time, effort, and detail you want to put into it, so.
It's on page 3, I just put down county official candidate for person's immediate family. The following gifts may be received by county officials. I know the private auditor and the state auditor doesn't like us to get plaques. Am I reading that right? That we can get plaques? It's on kind of the bottom of page 3. Because they don't classify that as a county purpose.
I think that references a plaque, not from you guys, but from an outside source. So if Farm Bureau wanted to present you a plaque for 20 years of service on the board or friendly farmer, I don't think that's what they're saying is not a conflict, as long as there's no monetary value, it's just a plaque itself. That's a negligible resale, it's worth nothing other than to you. That they all agree.
So again, does this fall under the county handbook then, or I guess? Just asking. So everybody that starts or get notification, the auditor gets notification of them receiving the document and they sign off on it. Which means they can read it on their own time. I like to see this as a county handbook issue than a separate board policy. I don't know if there's anything in there. I mean, there's stuff in that handbook.
And are you saying then county-wide then for
Yeah.
employees as well, not
Sure,
just,
countywide.
not just department heads or ourselves.
Too many county employees or county officials too. You know, we got 6.6 in there, acceptance of gifts already. Put it under section 6 miscellaneous,
When's the last time that handbook was revamped? Because I thought there were some other things.
February 18th of 2020. 2 years ago already.
Yeah, I'm working on it with Ann right now.
That's what I thought. But it was-
We're working on FMLA right now because it's a major issue with our staff.
That's where I think it should be put in.
Well, I can reach out to Ann or reply and see what her thoughts are on it. And is the consensus then to have it countywide, not just,
I think it should be in the handbook too. Or
But see, that's the other thing with the county handbook, that I brought this up.
Maybe this.
Elected officials really don't have to follow this, we should.
Yeah.
I think that's where it should go.
So you put it in the handbook, you gotta have anybody sign that they read it?
Yeah, the last page that's not on here, when you submit it out, everybody has to take that last page, sign it, saying they received the county handbook.
Yeah.
We do too.
so my question is then should the supervisors, well then would just sign that? Or sign that sheet, so then we would be covered anyway, even if we don't technically fall under the handbook.
Yeah, and then we go on to that 69 point, whatever she referenced in here too. The gift laws and 68B22, Iowa code restrictions.
Because isn't it already in our supervisor handbook, conflicts of interest? I thought I read it here a week ago,
In the county handbook,
in the supervisor
in the supervisor manual,
manual.
could be, but that's just ISAC's, a manual for county supervisors. They're referencing the law, yes, that's the 68.
Okay, stapler,
we need,
stapler.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're right. Rules of the meeting, confidential records, conflict of interest, page 12.
Can I ask, does this even address, I believe that the reason why this conflict of interest of policy even came up was due to the ambulance. And does that even address that?
That or my question was EMA as well, because I
Well, yes,
abstained from a vote whether I needed to or not. It was-
EMA has their own policy.
right. And that's actually initially where I took your verbiage and I gave it to Bodnar and it was a basis.
Like that's page 2 of the long form is personnel. Officials should avoid participating financially, directly or indirectly in any business or enterprise which may influence or be thought to influence their official decisions. Whether particular outside employment creates an unacceptable conflict of interest, officials should follow guidelines. That's the section you're asking about as far as voting on items in which you may be involved. And then it goes down further, 2 paragraphs down, and talks about outside, officials should not hold a position within a business which would conflict with the reason like the proper performance fees or civic duties, et cetera. So I would say yes, it does. I don't know if it addresses it fully, but it at least addresses it. And talks about disclosure further on the next page. You do need time to disclose the facts regarding those issues.
Well, we can look this over. I'll reach back out to Ann, copy Tim. See if we could add this into our handbook or how she would recommend we go about handling this. Is there anything else anybody else would like to address then? I would assume people want time to read this, unless people have already skimmed through it. Is there any thoughts on this, or?
Yeah, the handbook is where I think we need to go. I'm okay with the long form.
Okay, I'll reach out to Ann then. If there's nothing else on this, discuss creating a policy for committee member assignments for the board.
So, I'll go back a second, just to make sure I'm clear. So, are you gonna put it in the handbook, is there a motion to put it in the handbook, or are you?
I was gonna reach out to Ann and see what her thoughts are, and then
Sorry, I just wanna make sure it was.
if we're redoing the handbook anyway, to see if we throw that in there, that was my thought. Or we can put something in place now too, and then incorporate it, how the board would like to do.
I would take Ann's recommendation, whether we put the long form or short
Yes.
form in the
Yeah, I would agree.
handbook. That's my suggestion.
I agree. Then I'll see what her thoughts are on putting it in the handbook at a later date, or if we could do something now with all the employees. I don't.
It's gonna take us a while to get through
I don't
the
know.
policy, so, I mean, we can amend as we go. And then provide,
Then she can get us that copy or that sheet for us to sign, or
Yeah.
whatever.
the acknowledgement. Mhm.
Like I said, discuss creating a policy for committee member assignments for the board. Did you have something on that?
No, I don't remember.
Let's go back to January and, very tough to create a policy. You guys, like I said before in January, if you want all these committee assignments to come back to this governing body to vote on
Right.
issues,
That's what it was.
good luck picking apart our 30 committee assignments. If we're just targeting one or two, you can have my committee assignments.
I would assume you're referring to the ambulance topic.
Or BMA 911, all the committee assignments we do, right? If you put one of us on one of these committees, I feel that's the voice that you put on there. If you don't want an individual on that committee, or that person has to come back and get the consensus, it's gonna drag out all these committee assignments. So I couldn't even vote on the CSS meetings, because there's some financial contributions here, that is county funds. Sorry, I can't vote, it'll still pass, most likely, and it's gonna give a black eye to Chickasaw County. That I'm saying, gotta wait for back to governing body. If you're just gonna target the ambulance council for a policy, I can easily give it up, and because you guys come back then and get our consensus if you want a policy out there like that, so. Either all or none. So that's why this is on there. I believe it came back from the January discussion that I had on January 4th. If I'm wrong, let me know.
Yeah, I guess I was under the impression that it stated before that you're on 20 if Yeah, if you're put on a committee, you're in charge of, you're the voice. That's
The
the
only
way
thing
I interpreted it.
I would agree with that, Matt. The only thing I would, if you're put on a committee, I hope the votes ain't an abstain vote every time either. If that's the case, then somebody else should be on that committee.
Yep.
For budget reasons or opinions on this board. If you're gonna abstain or not vote on an issue, then maybe one of us should be that vote, that voice. And I think you explained why, but if you're gonna vote abstain every time for the EMA budget, then maybe somebody else should be on it, I'm just saying. So, those are my two concerns of the past. But like I said, it's gonna be very hard to make a policy if we're gonna do all 30 committee assignments. Unless we're just gonna target one or two. And that's what comes to the government of the state and the feds. If they don't like someone in a committee, they'll censure you and take you off. So that's what they do, right?
Yeah, that's what they do. Take the level. Same thing.
So,
Any other discussion on that? Okay, discuss the development of the new county website.
I don't know if anybody's had time I sent out a link.
I didn't think it
we
looked
made a couple
bad.
changes. Stephanie, on what Wednesday, for being out there. But like our land use, our board of health numbers are all listed, except for the supervisor was not. What else was there, Stephanie? Oh, planning commission, it was only 3 members listed, I thought we had 7.
So, one big thing, that Matt had pointed out was that they had this picture in there and it was not a very pleasant picture. So I chose this one. I kind of feel it represents, unless you guys want to do something different, but I feel it represents the rural communities and it has a flag kind of in the background, and versus the last image they had, it had a paver and some guys walking on the road and it looked not
That's where I.
professional though. So actually, if you want to see that image, you can go to the engineers page and visit that if you miss it. But yeah, so I guess I do need to know if you want, so here is your information. So this is your landing page when you get there. And you see up here that we have Facebook links. So if you guys, Board of Supervisors, ever decided that you wanted a Facebook page, they could click that and it would automatically go to your Facebook page link. I have one as auditor. I think Public Health has one. I'm not sure about any, Sheriff's Department does too. But if you want your cell phone information out there, then let me know. I'll have that forwarded on to them to get that added. But it has your information. And Steve will have to fix this part because that information was provided prior to the special election. So then also provides a map and direction in case, people want to know, but it has a courthouse.
So then go back up to the board of commissions, up on our letterhead,
Yes.
click that box.
The-
Board of commissions.
Board of Commissioners.
Yep. So it'll take you to a different page.
So I believe the ambulance council was correct. Board of health. We had Jeremy that was not on there.
Yep.
It was a Dan Carlin too, though, that, so.
He's off
He's
though.
off, yeah.
So
Yeah.
Jeremy was not on the one that Stephanie emailed us, so we got that added. Go to the planning commission. Right there. So there's only 3, and I question why isn't all 7 of them on there?
Okay, Kelvin.
We got Bob Shelley, we got Adam Drulo, we got Joan Cano. Is there a reason why?
You're gonna have to ask Ray because Ray came over and asked that information be taken off of our directory.
I don't know why. That's why I'm bringing it up today. The members we appointed, so I don't know how that individual can We have 7 members. That's what
They
the
want their name
motions
on
are.
there or what?
Just talk to Ray.
Dr. Ray.
Yep.
Okay,
Other ones, I think they're all good. But see, there you go, like Melissa, we added her title and then her phone number. So, you know, we got Greg Miller, Poppy, and
Mhm.
Mark with cell phone numbers. I think you should probably ask all of them if they want their cell phones on the county website.
Yep.
Before it does go live.
Well, yes, you should ask.
And I'm okay with mine, I'm good.
Or should we even have all the other ones and
Just go back up to the Board of Health. Do you have all their numbers, cell phones? We got one of Tony's home address, or sorry, home phone number. So yeah, either we have them all or we have none, or, because if you go back up to our Stephanie, under the homepage, it does say all correspondence go to the county auditor. Right there, right? No, go back to the, go back.
Right
one
here.
page. No, not that.
That's
Go back to the other one?
Yeah. Go down the bottom, lower page right there. All correspond.
Right here.
So that's law. I think that's in absence of us, they can call the auditor's office. So either put numbers on or no numbers, I don't care.
I think the supervisor number should be there. I question all the other committees. Because you might have some people that say, well, if you're gonna put my number on there, I don't. Yeah, yes, they should be reachable, but they already have problems getting people to be on these committees.
or maybe just put the emails there instead of the
That would work.
phone numbers, if that's what people worry about.
But some of them are not county emails or private emails,
Well,
so I don't know.
aren't they supposed to have a county email if you're do business?
Doubt it. I don't think Board of Health members do. Like the Dr. Klein would have the clinics.
So why don't you just make it simple and have all the phone numbers removed and we just leave it at that?
You can put my phone number though.
And I don't
That's
think
fine,
we
but
should.
commission wise though, I mean, we
Just
just
take them
omit them.
I don't know, yes.
I have
Okay.
no problem with my number being on there.
It's already, and ours are already on the directory if you go and.
Send it to the newspaper, once a month.
So add supervisor numbers,
That's fine.
That's fine.
omit commission phone numbers. Okay,
I did look at, did you say one time somebody's taking pictures of all the county buildings?
yeah, well, I reached out to somebody that actually so he has his license to fly a drone and take images, and I reached out to him and he was willing to take drone footage and pictures and stuff for the amount of $500, and he was that included all of his travel around the county, and the procurement of those images he took. I asked him if he'd be willing to wait till it's nicer out, so we're not taking pictures of snow piles all over our beautiful county, you know, kind of get it where things are in bloom, and he was more than agreeable with that. I talked to the website people too, and they said that they would not charge us anything to update the images once those were done.
When do they foresee this website going live?
Mid-April. But I said we probably wouldn't get the images done until after that, and in the Neapolitan Labs, Brian said it's not an issue.
We want green grass and these other trees.
Right. Well, and we want our parks to look, nice too. And actually, it sounds like maybe conservation will piggyback off of that, and hire the same individual to do some promotional things to promote camping in our county and things like that. So
On the old website, it still has the old Northland and Williams City. If we're gonna delete that one in April, that's fine.
on Northland. Yep.
Kind of a shady picture. We don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
So how's
Trust me, that you could have somebody do part-time work on the website.
There's
There's a lot. There's broken links and there's a lot.
How's
So-
the department heads, they got their own, are you guys going with pictures again of each individual department head or?
No.
Okay.
Marty says he would just keep the same picture. And I don't know. So it's at their own.
They sent us a link last week or 2 weeks ago, or at least my department did, and then gave us the same thing you guys are seeing right now, a draft version of what it was, and asked us for corrections and changes. So
Yeah.
we had a list of things that we want to change and numbers that were wrong and just simple stuff like you guys are doing right now. So I'm assuming that all the other department has got the same stuff.
Yes, we
So,
did.
Is it the same domain? Or are we gonna make a public know that we changed?
No, it's the same domain. It'll flip.
Just changes the IP address on the backside where it goes.
Right.
Perfect.
So then I'll just notify Schneider when to kill it on their end, and then when we upload this. But this is the agenda and the minutes. I think it's a lot cleaner
How
looking
far will we
than.
go back?
So here's archived. We went back to 2018.
2018.
That should be sufficient.
Yeah.
So then can we put a link like underneath Board of Supervisors, you were saying for YouTube?
Yeah.
I mean, somewhere, but it would look
Yeah.
nice if it was.
It's up here. It'll probably appear. I'll have the YouTube icon unless you want it somewhere, or we could put it
I kind of
elsewhere here too.
I was thinking underneath that list of 4 there.
Right here
No, I think
or where?
on the side there.
Okay.
Board of Supervisors, Board of Commissions, County Ordinances.
So add the link on the right side.
But if they're gonna have a Facebook link at the top, but we aren't gonna be using it anyway.
No,
Unless
but
we-
I do for
Correct,
me.
Correct.
And whoever else has one.
Can we get the recycle schedule on this somehow?
Sure. So on our current website, it's actually on our homepage. I know that you guys mentioned that we need to be better about it, but it's actually down here. Recycling FY 2022 right next to 21.
But that's something we could put on the new one.
But we could put it on the new one.
So I'll go back to that one.
Or, because when you search on Google, it doesn't come up with a new one.
Yeah,
Whatever that is.
it's, and this part here, any of these little things I can't do, so I have to send it off to them. I wish that they would have put it underneath the FY, because it looks like all in one, doesn't it? They could have listed it like this, or omitted, or got rid of that. So they're not near as active as our future provider for our, but, yeah, so we'll add, okay. I was wondering where I'll check on the rural recycling then too.
So each department head can have training on how to do the backside?
Yeah.
When is that?
Haven't set it up yet. I'll reach out to Brian and his staff, and I use it for my elections. Super simple, but definitely could help you. But yeah, I'll set that up because Brian, that was in the contract that they would provide that training. So yeah, so yeah, they have kind of all of ours preliminarily done. So, I mean, another thing that you guys would probably be interested in is maybe general assistance. That's all that they have right now for general assistance.
Could that be recycling under there? Instead of its own.
Does Tricia know about this?
Trisha?
Tricia?
Probably not. But I could reach out to her or.
Cause she is the.
So, yeah. From Northeast Iowa Community Action, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I can talk to her. Is there anything else that needs to go underneath? I mean, CSS is not present in the Chickasaw County anymore. In our current website, they had me update the information. I just did that not too long ago. Hence where that conversation was, is that they didn't need that space and that filing cabinet was the county's.
You said that went to LEMC?
That one, I think it ended up down at the law office. That filing cabinet that was down in the,
So where's this stuff? Is this stuff still in it that was in there of theirs?
I gave it to the ones that I dropped off with Mary,
yeah.
and she was happy to receive.
Trying to find where that.
What are you looking for?
I was looking for the information I had to update. I think it was on the landing page if I,
For CSS,
um,
or Kayleen done, or
it was CSS. I'm trying to remember because I remember I couldn't change it. I had to have them do it. It was in one of these weird modules.
and that's a crazy thing with CSS, we're the only region in the state that CSS is the employee record. All other 13 regions have county staff yet. So should they be on a county website? I don't know. That'd be like, if you had to have all the other.
Well, or do we just put a link to their website on
Oh,
our
we could.
page?
You could, that, they have
Neapolitan.
They have MD.
So then land use, Ray's kind of got that. That's underneath him, I guess, because that's who you guys appointed as a land use commissioner. And that's pretty much it for the board. The rest, I think, is just by department heads.
No, it's coming. It's a lot user friendly.
One neat thing too is I did ask them to allow us to put bid notices out there, so we can put our bid notices. So I'll put out there, like, we'll not publish it for public consumption until maybe April 1st, and then I can actually have it fall off the website without having to go back in and delete it. So that's really nice feature for not only bid notices, but job applications, public hearings, things like
We
that.
can punch in a date that it'll fall off.
Mm-hmm. And it won't be available to public anymore. Yep. And then here's one more thing to maintain if we want, the calendar of events.
Oh,
Yeah.
Of like, just like budgets and,
Like courthouse is closed on
no.
Memorial Day, or you could put out your public hearing, or if there's meetings coming up, the department heads should be able to add, hey, I have a Board of Supervisor meeting on March 7th at 9 a.m., things like that. Depends how much we want to maintain it, I guess. So, again, you could really have somebody dedicate more time to it than what I can if you wanted to. So all I've got then is rural recycling, right? See if we can get that added somewhere. Add a link for live on the right side of the minutes and agendas.
add in our phone numbers.
Add your phone numbers, and then omit all the commission members' phone numbers.
Yes.
And then, okay, and then I'll contact Trisha about the website and see if we just would need to put a link on there for Northeast Iowa Community Action. Anything else?
Looks good to me.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other committee assignment updates?